Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Byju's IAS. Am I audible and visible? Good evening, students. Am I audible and visible? Thank you, Ankush. Roshan, good evening, all of you. Simran, Brajneet, good evening. Yuksin, Angeline. Let some more people join in and then I'll begin. Meshak, good evening. Roshan, thank you. I'm fine. Hope the same of you too. Anushka, good evening. So yesterday, I finished with Stone Age. The first chapter, Stone Age, I finished that, and then we came to the second chapter, Harappan civilization or Indus civilization. Um, I covered a few aspects of this particular topic. We have discussed what is culture, civilization, and urban revolution. We have discussed that. Then I gave an introduction to this topic called Harappan civilization or Indus civilization. Um, we have discussed that this was a chance discovery. It was discovered by chance during the British times. The various contemporary civilizations which existed along with the Harappan civilization, like the Mesopotamian civilization, the Egyptian civilization, and the Chinese civilization. Then various nomenclatures, the various names by which this particular civilization was called initially. Initially called Indus Valley civilization because most of the sites pertaining to this civilization were found within the Indus Valley, hence called Indus Valley civilization. But then later excavations revealed sites far away from the Indus Valley, as far as Maharashtra, UP, Gujarat, etc. Therefore, the name was changed to Indus civilization. Then it is also called Harappan civilization, proto-historic civilization, Bronze Age civilization. So we have seen all these things. Then the origin of this civilization, a few theories as regards the origin of this civilization. Mortimer Wheeler gave the foreign origin theory. Professor Rafiq Mughal said that they originated from the rural cultures of Baluchistan, the four Baluchi cultures, Zob, Quetta, Nal, and Kuli. And of course, the most acceptable theory was given by A. Ghosh, Amananand Ghosh, who said that it was purely an indigenous origin civilization. It indigenously evolved from the pre-Harappan cultures of Amri, Kodtiji, and Kalibangan. Extent we have seen, it was the largest of the contemporary civilizations, spread over an area of 1.3 million square kilometers. Then we have looked at the northernmost site, the southernmost site, eastern and westernmost sites. Um, then we discussed the town planning of the Harappans, polity of the Harappans, and then we came to society. I stopped with society. A few more aspects about society I have to discuss. Am I audible? Not audible? Hello? What about others? Sakshi, Roshan says I'm audible. Meshak, please refresh your page. Yeah, all clear. Meshak, I hope your problem is solved. Meshak, you're all good. Others are not having any problem. Yeah, Ankush, I'll come to that. Just hold on. I'll come to that. Just hold on. Yeah. Shailaja, good evening. Ritika, Ankush, Meshak, your problem is solved. You're able to hear now. Right. So we were discussing the society. Yesterday's class, society. Any doubts regarding whatever we have done? Yeah. Any doubts as regards whatever we have done? Town planning of the Harappans, then polity, then society. we'll come to the society. Pihu. So again, let me recap. Society. The Harappan civilization was a heterogeneous society. It was not homogeneous, it was heterogeneous. So there were a number of races in this particular civilization, and we can identify four races from the analysis of skeletons, bones, which have been found in various sites pertaining to this civilization. We come to know that there were four major sites. Rather, there were four main races, right? Mediterranean race, the Proto-Australoid, Mongoloid, and the Alpinoid races. So these are the four main races existing in the Harappan civilization. Therefore, it was a heterogeneous population. But then at Mohenjo-daro, what we notice is majority of the population belong to the Mediterranean race. Most of the skeletons, bones, etc., which have been found at Mohenjo-daro belong to the Mediterranean race. And therefore, historians presume that this might have been the case in other sites also. In other sites also, this might have been the case. Probably the dominant race was Mediterranean race. But then there was free racial mixture amongst all these four races. There was free racial mixtures. That was they married amongst themselves. They had relationship amongst themselves. Now, um, John Marshall, you know, the person who gave the name Indus Valley Civilization to this particular civilization. So John Marshall felt that the society was matriarchal. Now, what is matriarchal? You all know, mother is the head of the house. And what is matrilineal? The descent is from the mother's side. Okay. Um, I'm coming to that, right? I told you this, Shailaja, why Indus Valley civilization is called Harappan civilization, because Harappa was the first type site to be discovered. This was the place where the civilization was first discovered. That is at Harappa, hence called Harappan civilization. Okay, so that was the first type site. That is the tradition or fashion in archaeology. Yesterday I have told you that. Now we'll come back here. Now, John Marshall felt that the society probably was matriarchal. And on what basis does John Marshall tell us this? That probably the society was matriarchal. Based on the religious pantheon of these people, based on the religious practices of these people. Now, if you look at the gods of the Harappans used to worship many gods and goddesses. We'll come to that. You see here. You see here, this is the main god, male god. I'll come to religion in some time. Just hold on. Now, on your screen, you can see here, this is on a clay tablet. On a clay tablet or a piece of clay tablet, either square or rectangular in shape. That is called a seal, Harappan seal, or a clay tablet. So we have the figure of a deity. We have the figure of a god. He was sitting cross-legged on a throne. I'll explain about this god in some time. Just hold on. So here, the chief male god is this god. And John Marshall gave him a name, Pashupati Mahadeva. He called him as Pashupati Mahadeva. Now, we have another seal which has been discovered at Mohenjo-daro. Unfortunately, on Google, I don't have any pictures of this particular goddess. So on a seal, on a piece of the clay tablet, understand this, on a piece of clay tablet, we have the, we have the figure of a deity. So imagine this is the clay tablet. We have the figure of a deity. She has her head down. Understand this. She has her head down, and both her legs are pointing towards the sky, as if she's in a Shirshasana posture, as if she's in a Shirshasana posture. And between her legs, through her private part, a plant is seen growing. A plant is seen growing. Okay, looking at this, this particular goddess has been called Mother Goddess. This goddess has been called Mother Goddess. Right. So probably the Harappans they were worshipping Mother Earth. So plants grow from Mother Earth. We all survive because of the plants and the food which is found on the Mother Earth. So here, probably they personified the Mother Earth. So Harappans probably personified Mother Earth, and they had given a form to Mother Earth. They had given her a form in the form of a female. So she has her head down and both her legs are pointing towards the sky. And she has this is called Mother Goddess seal. And mother goddess seal can also be like this. So this is a mother goddess seal. Unfortunately, on Google we don't have any picture on the net. So here we have found more mother goddess seals in the Harappan civilization when compared to that of Pashupati Mahadeva. So this is Pashupati Mahadeva for you on your screen. This is the chief male god worshipped by the Harappans. And who is the chief female goddess? This one, mother goddess. And we have found more mother goddess seals when compared to Pashupati Mahadeva seals. And on that basis, John Marshall came to the conclusion that probably the society was matriarchal, that the mother was the head of the family, because religion always reflects society. On what basis did he say this? That the society was matriarchal, on the basis that religion always reflects society. Now, let me give another example. We have the various Hindu gods and goddesses, various pantheon of Hindu gods: Shiva, Vishnu, Rama, Krishna, etc. Lakshmi, Saraswati, Durga, Kali, so on and so forth. Now, if you look at the Hindu gods, hardly any of them have daughters has their children. Almost all the Hindu gods have sons as their children, not daughters. Now, what is the reason for this? Because those days the society was patriarchal. The society was patriarchal, where the father was the head of the family, and the society was patriarchal and patrilineal. That is, the descent is from the father's side. So they have shown our gods also like that. They showed their gods also like that, where most of the gods only have sons. Hardly a few have daughters. Did you understand? So here in the Harappan society, in the Harappan civilization, we have found more mother goddess seals when compared to Pashupati Mahadeva seals. And on that basis, John Marshall came to the conclusion that society might have been matriarchal. Did you understand what I just now said? Yeah, I told Vaibhav, very few Hindu gods have daughters. Almost everybody have sons. Whoever has a family and have children, most of them have sons, hardly any daughters. So society, religion always reflects society. So on that basis, since religion always reflects society, on that basis, John Marshall came to the conclusion that probably the society was matriarchal. Did you get me that? Hello, am I clear with this part? So Ankush, that's what the archaeologists have said, that there might have been lampposts, because wide streets, and so much of traffic, bullock cart traffic, etc. So there might have been, for some time in the evenings, lampposts, fire lamps might have been kept burning, which was the case even later, until electricity was invented. So it is presumed that there must have been lampposts keeping those um, streets at least dimly lit. So it gradually. So the Deepshika, how have these races reached here? Obviously, because of constant migration or assimilation into the civilization. So from the analysis of the skeletons, that's what we come to know. Four races lived in this particular civilization, right? So obviously through constant migration and assimilation, right? Now, did you get that part? Now, social organization might have been matriarchal and probably or even matrilineal. So, because based on the religious practices of these people. So, it was not a equal society. It was not egalitarian. It was a class divided society. We have seen that everybody was not equal in the Harappan society. We have a class differentiation as seen in the citadel area, which was covered with a massive brick wall. Unlike the lower town, which was exposed, there was no brick wall around the lower town. Some houses were two-room tenements, two-storied buildings, whereas some houses were single-room tenements. So from that, we come to know there was class differentiation. And as regards the language spoken by the Harappans, it is believed that it must have been a Proto-Dravidian language. That is, the language spoken by the Harappans became one of the Dravidian languages. One of the Dravidian languages. And I told you, the Bruhai, the Bruhai, one of supposed to be a fishing community of Pakistan. A fishing community of Pakistan, the Bruhais, are considered to be the direct descendants of the Harappans. Are considered to be the direct descendants of the Harappans. Okay, thank you, Meshak. Clear? Right. This is about Harappan society. All clear here? Am I clear? Okay. So let us go on to the next segment, next section. Economy. So let us understand economy. So we will study economy under few subheadings. One is agriculture, small scale industries, trade and commerce. Now we'll be covering all these things: agriculture, small scale industries, trade and commerce. So how was their economy like? Basically, it was an agrarian economy. It was an agrarian economy. They were dependent on agriculture. And the Harappans practiced what is known as floodplain agriculture. So what is floodplain agriculture? Every year, the Indus would flood its banks. There'll be floods in the river Indus. And from the upper levels, upper courses, the river would bring copious amount of silt. Huge amount of silt will be brought by the Indus River, which is in floods. And it will disperse the silt in the lower courses. Once the flood waters receded and the river came to its normal flow, once the flood waters receded and the river came to its normal flow, the Harappans would take a digging stick or a hoe. They will take a digging stick. Hoe means digging stick. They will take a digging stick. They used to take a digging stick and they will dig the earth, which was already loose and fertile. It was already loose and fertile. So they will dig it easily with the digging stick and then they will sprinkle seeds. They used to say sprinkle seeds. Now, whether the Harappans knew about the plow, answer is yes. They definitely knew about the plow. How do we know this? Because in the pre-Harappan levels at Kalibangan, we have evidence of the pre-Harappans using plow. So, therefore, it is presumed that the Harappans knew about the plow because in the pre-Harappans levels itself, we have evidence of they having plowed their fields. So obviously they knew about the plow, but it was not necessary to use the plow. Because why it was not necessary? Because already the soil was loose and it was easy to do the same job with the help of a digging stick. So Harappans knew about the plow, but they did not use it, right? And they grew two crops in a year, a winter crop and a summer crop. They grew two crops in a year, a winter crop and a summer crop. A winter crop, wheat and barley. They cultivated wheat and barley. Summer crop, cotton, mustard, sesamum, jowar, peas, vegetables, fruits, etc. And Harappans were one of the earliest in the world to cultivate cotton. Harappans were one of the earliest in the world to cultivate cotton. And when Alexander and his men, in 326 BC, when Alexander and his men, the Greeks, came into India, they came via Sindh and they saw a lot of cotton crops, standing cotton crops. And they called Sindh Hasindan, native to they called cotton Hasindan, native to the region of Sindh. So they called cotton as Sindan, native to the region of Sindh. And we have found a piece of cotton cloth from Mohenjo-daro. You can see here, this is a piece of cotton which has been found from Mohenjo-daro. And such cotton has also been found in Mesopotamia. So Harappans used to export textiles, maybe raw cotton and cotton textiles to Mesopotamia. We have found Harappan cotton and cotton textiles in Mesopotamia. So they were one of the earliest to cultivate cotton, the Harappans. So then, of course, they cultivated fruits and vegetables. Until now, we have no evidence of they having cultivated sugarcane. So they did not know about sugarcane. We can say that they did not know about sugarcane. Till now, we have no evidence of they having cultivated sugarcane. Animal domestication was a supplementary activity, both for dairy and meat. And they also had domesticated the elephants. We have no evidence of the Mesopotamians having domesticated the elephants, but the Harappans had domesticated even the elephant. Are you there with me? So agriculture was their main occupation. Did you understand what is floodplain agriculture? So every year the Indus would flood its banks and it will bring huge amount of silt and disperse it on the lower courses. Once the flood waters receded, the river came to its normal flow. The Harappans who knew about the plow but did not use it because it was not necessary to use the plow. So they would take a digging stick or a hoe and they would make some digging. They'll do some digging with the digging stick and then they'll sprinkle seeds. And they used to cultivate two crops in a year, a winter crop and a summer crop. And they were one of the earliest to cultivate cotton in the world. Until now, we have no evidence of they having cultivated sugarcane. And they also engaged in animal husbandry, which was a supplementary occupation. They had also domesticated the elephant. So you can see here a piece of cotton from Mohenjo-daro. Then we have found animal skeletons, from this civilization, as old as this civilization. Camel skeleton comes from Kalibangan. So Kalibangan is in Rajasthan. So we have camel skeleton from Kalibangan in Rajasthan. Elephant skeleton comes from Gujarat region. So these are all animals belonging to the Harappan times. So we can also presume we can understand the type of flora and fauna which existed for these animals to survive and thrive. We can understand what type of ecology the environment which the Harappans were living in. So camel, elephant, rhino skeleton come from Amri. Horse, skeleton of a horse has been found at Surkotada. A cat comes from Channudaro. So these are all animal skeletons found in various Harappan sites. And then, of course, we have found a site called 4 MSR. This is near Binjore, Rajasthan. Recently, one of the excavated sites. It is still under excavation. 4 MSR site near Binjore, Rajasthan. And we have evidence of the Harappans even eating tortoise. They used to consume tortoise meat. You can see here they have crushed the tortoise shell and they have eaten the meat. So we have found some shells like this, tortoise shells. Now all these places, important places, we'll discuss important places. Yeah, you can say that Bhimare, Chalcolithic people, they mostly had a hunting and a fishing economy. Hardly any agricultural tools and implements have been found. So on that basis, from the artifacts found, from pots and Chalcolithic tools and weapons which have been found, it is presumed that they did not have an agricultural economy, mostly hunting and a fishing economy, right? Mostly a hunting and a fishing economy. Yeah, bull might have been used. Obviously, bull might have been used for plowing. If at all it was necessary to use the bull, they might have used the bull. What is black picture in this place? Black picture, which one? This one. I have given the explanation here. They consume tortoise meat. Hoe is a Vaibhav, hoe is a digging stick. Hoe is a digging stick. Okay, I made it very clear. Hoe. Hoe is a digging stick. Made of wood, obviously. It would have been made of wood. Now we'll come back here. Um, Now, small scale industries. Now you have specialization of crafts, specialization in crafts. So Harappans engage in a number of small scale and cottage industries like shell and bead industries. Shell, seashells, beads. We have found them at Lothal and Channudaro. Shell and bead industries come from there. Brick making, shipbuilding, carpentry, goldsmith, silver, bronze, copper, tin, so these are all the various metals the Harappans knew. They did not know about iron. You all know this. They did not know. They had no knowledge of iron, the Harappans. And among textiles, they knew only cotton and wool, but not silk. So they had no knowledge of iron. So they had no knowledge of iron and no knowledge of silk. Right? They knew about cotton and wool, but not silk, and no knowledge of iron. Whereas they knew about gold, silver, copper, bronze, and shell and bead industries, carpentry, brick making, shipbuilding. All these are there. Right? So these are all the various industries engaged in by the Harappans. And we have found beads of carnelian. So carnelian is a type of stone. So we have carnelian beads. Carnelian beads have been found even in Mesopotamia. So Harappans used to probably even export jewelry, shell and jewelry made of shell and beads. So carnelian beads have been found along with jewelry made of shell. Then, of course, we come to trade and commerce. So we've discussed agriculture, small-scale industries, trade and commerce. Now, Harappans traded extensively within the Indus zone, 1.3 million square kilometers. 1.3 million square kilometers. They traded extensively within the Indus zone. So with present-day regions of Rajasthan, Maharashtra, Saurashtra, Western UP, South India. So they traded with all these areas, whatever we now call Rajasthan, Saurashtra, Maharashtra, South India, parts of Western UP and Bihar. They also traded with the Neolithic people of Kashmir, for example, Burzahom. They also traded with the Neolithic people of Kashmir and South India and the Chalcolithic Ahar culture. So some people were still backward technologically. Harappans were in the Bronze Age, right? They had developed alloy technology, as you all know. They knew how to mix copper and tin and make bronze. So technologically, they were much more advanced. They were living in cities. But then they still traded with people who were still backward. For example, the Chalcolithic Ahar culture of Rajasthan. So Ahar is a site in Rajasthan, as you all know. And the Neolithic cultures of Kashmir and South India, right? Saurashtra would be, um, overlapping parts of Gujarat and Maharashtra. That is Saurashtra. Overlapping parts of Maharashtra and Gujarat, mostly Gujarat, Saurashtra. So Rajasthan, Saurashtra, Maharashtra, etc. Now we'll come back to international trade. So we have discussed what you call internal trade. Now let us come to international trade. The Harappans used to trade with Mesopotamia and Bahrain. Now I'll show you a map here on your screen. You can see here. There's a map here on your screen. You can see here. Okay, this is a modern map with old names. Understand this. This is a modern map with old names. Now, I'll come to this. Now, how do we know that the Harappans used to trade with Mesopotamia? Mesopotamia is in Iraq, isn't it? Mesopotamian civilization was in Iraq. So they should trade with Mesopotamia or Sumeria and Bahrain. Now, how do we know this? We have both archaeological evidence as well as literary evidence as regards trade between these two civilizations. Now, what is the archaeological evidence we have regarding trade between the Indus people and the people of Mesopotamia? Indus cotton has been found. Understand this? Indus cotton, that is cotton cultivated by the Indus people, have been found in some of the Mesopotamian cities. Just as Harappa, we have given names to the Harappan cities like Harappa, Mohenjo-daro, Lothal, Kalibangan, Dholavira, and so on and so forth. We have some cities in the Mesopotamian civilization, such as Ur, Kish, Susa, Tel Asmar, etc. Now, we have found cotton, Indus cotton, has been found in some of the Mesopotamian cities. This is one evidence we have, that there was trade between these two civilizations. Similarly, we have found Indus seals, clay tablets, either square or rectangular. I'll come to that in some time. What are Indus seals? What was the purpose of these seals, etc. So we have found Indus seals in some of the Mesopotamian cities. So these are the two archaeological evidence we have as regards trade between these two civilizations. Indus cotton and Indus seals found in some of the Mesopotamian cities. Similarly, we have found Mesopotamian seals and coarse gray pottery. Mesopotamians also used to make pottery, and they used to paint it in gray color. So that's called coarse gray pottery. Persian Gulf seal. They used to also use a seal which has been called Persian Gulf seal. So we have found Persian Gulf seal, coarse gray pottery in some of the Indus cities like Mohenjo-daro, Lothal. So from these archaeological evidence, we come to know there was trade between these two civilizations. On your screen, you can see here Indus cotton bales. What is bale? Bale is a what do you call a bundle? Indus cotton bales. Bales are bundles. So cotton bundles have been found in the Sumerian city of Umma. So Indus cotton has been found in the Mesopotamian or Sumerian city of Umma. Then Indus seals have been found in some of the Mesopotamian sites like Susa, Ur, Kish, Tel Asmar, right? Did you understand? So Indus seals are found in Mesopotamian. I have no idea about that, Sakshi. I have no idea about what you're saying. We'll come back here. So Indus seals are found in some of the Mesopotamian sites like Susa, Ur, Kish, Tel Asmar, etc. Similarly, Mesopotamian seals and that is cylindrical seals, and Persian Gulf seal and coarse grey pottery. These have been found in some of the Indus cities, like for example, cylindrical seals. So Mesopotamian seals are cylindrical in shape. They have been found in Mohenjo-daro. Persian Gulf seal and coarse grey pottery comes from Lothal. So this is the archaeological evidence we have regarding trade between these two civilizations. Are you there with me? If you can raise your hands. Clear. This is the archaeological evidence we have between as regards trade between these two civilizations. Now let us come to the literary evidence. Literary evidence as regards trade between these two civilizations. Now we all know, you all know that the Indus script remains undeciphered. We are not able to decipher the Indus script. You all know that. But then the Mesopotamian script has been deciphered. And the Mesopotamian script has been called cuneiform script. Understand this? Mesopotamian script has been called cuneiform script. Right? So let me use a page here. Understand this. So there was a king. Understand this. In Mesopotamia, there was a king. His name was Sargon. King Sargon. And he ruled a kingdom called Akkad. So the name of the kingdom was Akkad. So he is called Sargon of Akkad, King Sargon of Akkad. And we have a script called cuneiform script. That is the name of the script given to the Mesopotamian script, cuneiform script. So in the cuneiform records of King Sargon of Akkad, so we have an inscription found, but belonging to King Sargon of Akkad, and this is dated 2300 BC. This is supposedly as old as 2300 BC. So in this particular piece of information, which we get from King Sargon of Akkad's inscription, there are three places mentioned. Understand this? There are three places mentioned. Meluha, Dilman, and Makan. Meluha, Dilman, and Makan. Now, Meluha has been identified with the Indus region. Mesopotamians used to call the Indus region, that's what historians and archaeologists have told us, they used to call this region, the Indus region, as Meluha. So the name given to the Indus region by the Mesopotamians was Meluha. So this was the Indus region for them, Meluha. Dilman has been identified with Bahrain in the Persian Gulf. So we have the country of Bahrain in the Persian Gulf. And Makkan is the Makran coast. The Makran coast. Now, on your screen, if you see this map here, on your screen, so this is Meluha. This was the name given to the Indus region by the Mesopotamians. This is Makkan, Makran coast. This is Dilman, that is Bahrain, and this is Sumeria, that is Mesopotamia. Now, ships going from Meluha or coming from Sumeria used to pass through these areas. So, for example, as you all know, there was a port. There was an artificial port at Lothal built by the Harappans. And ships used to go from Gujarat, Lothal in Gujarat, to Mesopotamia. So what was the route taken by these ships? And look here, you imagine this is a ship. This is a ship. So this ship starts off from Lothal and it is carrying some goods. It will first come and dock itself in Makkan. So it will come and this is the first point of contact, first point of stoppage. It will stop here at Makkan. Then loading, unloading will take place. The sailors might take some rest here. And then the ship will continue its journey and it will reach Dilman, that is Bahrain. This is the second point of stoppage. And then the third point of stoppage was Sumeria or Mesopotamia. Did you get me? So this was a route taken by the ships. And we have found Indus cotton seals, Indus cotton and Indus seals at these two places. Dilman, we have found Indus seals and Indus cotton. And Makkan also, on the Makran coast, we have found Indus seals and cotton. So from that, we come to know that this was the route taken by the ships. Similarly, when ships are coming from Mesopotamia to the Indus region or Meluha, they will stop over at Dilman, and then they will, the second point would be Makkan, and then Meluha. Did you understand? Hello, what I'm trying to tell you. So in the cuneiform records, look here on your screen, in the cuneiform records of King Sargon of Akkad, dated 2300 BC, there are three places mentioned: Meluha, Dilman, and Makkan. So historians say that Meluha was the name given to the Indus region by the Mesopotamians. So this was the Indus region for the Mesopotamians. Meluha. Dilman has been identified with Bahrain in the Persian Gulf, and Makkan is the Makran coast. How are the names of Indus sites known? No, these are all modern names, Jashwant. These are all modern names, Harappa, Mohenjo-daro, Lothal, Chanhudaro. We don't know what the Harappans called them. We don't know what the Harappans called them, right? For example, Mohenjo-daro, the people of that area used to call that site as Mohenjo-daro, means mound of the dead. On a mound, a number of skeletons were found, which is Mohenjo-daro, which is down in Pakistan. So therefore, on that basis, people of the locals of that area used to call that place as Mohenjo-daro, mound of the dead. So like that, these are all modern names. We don't know what the Harappans used to call their cities. Clear, Jaswant? Now we'll come back here. Are you clear about this? Literary evidence. So there was a king called Sargon who ruled an area called Akkad, a kingdom called Akkad. And in his cuneiform records, we have the names of three places: Meluha, Dilman, and Makkan. Meluha has been identified with the Indus region, Dilman with Bahrain, and Makkan with the Makran coast. Can you raise your hands? Are you clear? Very simple. Okay, thank you. So we'll move on. Now look at the imports. Let us look at the various items of imports and exports of the Harappans. This is not important from the exam point of view. They'll not ask you, don't worry. But just have an idea as to what are the various types of goods imported by the Harappans and from where. So they traded extensively. As you can see on your screen, they traded extensively, and all these goods came from various parts of India and even outside India. For example, gold came from Afghanistan, Persia, that is Iran. Persia is the old name of Iran. So gold came from Iran, Afghanistan, and South India. Probably South India would be the Kolar gold fields. So in Karnataka, we have a place called Kolar. Of course, now the gold fields have dried up. It has been exploited for hundreds of years, so there is no gold there. So we can presume that gold was from the Kolar gold fields. Kolar gold fields. Then silver. Silver came from Afghanistan, Iran, copper from Balochistan and the Khetri mines of Rajasthan, tin from Afghanistan, Bihar, Central Asia, steatite, a type of soft stone called steatite. So most of the seals were made of steatite. That comes from Afghanistan, Iran, agate from Western India, chalcedony from Saurashtra, lead, lapis lazuli, turquoise, amethyst, jade, carnelian, and shells. So these are the various items of imports of the Harappans. Yeah, that's what I said, Ankush. They might have called those cities by their own names. We don't know. Um I don't think they knew mining, Deepshika. Mining. They did not know about iron definitely, but copper mines. For them to, of course, open cast mines. They would have procured copper from an open cast mine. So in that sense, they might have known something about mining, right? So copper, tin, gold, silver, etc. They knew all these metals. Um, Probably, Ankush. It is also called Sumeria. Mesopotamian civilization is also called Sumerian civilization. Yeah, right. So where you don't need to, it is open cast is where it is visible. You don't need to dig the earth and find out where the metal is. That's called open cast mining. Okay, already you some amount of minerals are exposed. So we'll come back here. Then exports. What are the exports of the Harappans? Cotton fiber. No, that is raw cotton. Cotton fiber is raw cotton. So they knew about raw cotton, cotton textiles, food grains, ivory objects, shell and bead ornaments. Yeah. No, these are the names. Bhimare, these are the names. Meluha, Dilman, Makan are found in the records of King Sargon of Akkad. On the cuneiform records, we have these names mentioned. And I told you that the cuneiform script has been deciphered. We are able to read the script of the Mesopotamians, right? And therefore, we come to know about these names: Meluha, Dilman, Makan. And this is what the historians presume. Probably that was the name given to all these three places by the Mesopotamians. And probably they called the Indus region as Meluha. Right? These are the exports: cotton textiles, cotton fiber, food grains, ivory objects, shell and bead ornaments. So they also exported jewelry made of shell and bead ornaments. Then transport. What was the mode of transport? By land, through bullock carts. They might have used donkeys, mules, bullock carts, pack oxen. You can see here. This is the picture of a nikka. You see a Harappan bullock cart or a nikka, which has been found from Harappa. This is from Harappa. And you can see here, it has got solid wheels. There's no spokes for the wheels. There are no spokes. It's a solid wheel. It's a solid wheel without any spokes. So probably this was a toy for the Harappan children, but modeled on the real bullock cart. They must have used bullock carts like this. So this was the overland mode of transport: bullock carts, pack oxen, and sea and river transport with help of voyage boats and ships. You can see we have found clay models of boats from Lothal. You can see here clay models of boats from Lothal. So these are all toys meant for the Harappan children to play with, but then probably modeled on the real boats which were plying on the rivers or maybe even in the ocean like this. And we have another picture of a huge boat or maybe this was the large size boat which used to travel to Mesopotamia. You can see here. This is an industrial boat from Harappa. Yeah, see this? Yeah, it's a boat. Clay model of boats. And there's another boat here, big one. It looks like the Kerala boat, which is used for race. Kerala boat. You have a boat race in Kerala, isn't it? Famous in Kerala, a boat race. So it is something like that. It's shaped like that. Vallam Kali. Okay, Vaibhav. Vallam Kali. Okay. Right. So this is about the mode of transport. Then weights and measures. Harappans used to use boats, weights and measures for commercial and building purposes, for trade, no commercial, that is for trade and for building purposes. They used to use weights and measures. So weights, we have found different weights. They proceeded in a series, I believe, 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 64. So they were doubling in a series, first doubling from 1, 2, 4, 8 to 64, and then in decimal multiples of 16. So that's how the weights, those are the type of weights used by the Harappans. And we also have found sticks with measure marks, measuring yards, measuring rods have been found. Sticks with measure marks have been found. So they used weights and measures both for commercial and building purposes. And you can see here, they must have used a plumb bob. Even now, a plumb bob is used, when you must have seen a masonry or a mason building a wall. Now he has to get that wall straight, 90-degree angle, a straight wall. So even now, this type of plumb bob is used. He will see whether it is, you know, it is exactly aligned. And with the help of this plumb bob, he is able to see, and then accordingly, he will tap the wall in case it is slightly, it is slightly tilting, right? So they might have used a plumb bob. What is made up of soil, Shailaja? What is made up of soil? What are you saying, Shailaja? What is made of soil? Made up of soil? No, no. How can the boat be made up of soil? No, this is a clay model. My God. Shailaja, this is a clay model of a boat. This is obviously made of clay. I have written here, clay model of boats. This is for the kids to play. The Harappan children used to play with such clay models. But I said probably they were modeled on the real boats. Real boats wouldn't have been made of mud, isn't it? How can they survive on the river if it is made of mud? So they must have been made of, obviously wood, right? So these are clay models of boats, and this must be modeled on the real boats, which were probably made like this and used by the Harappans. Okay, clear, Shailaja? Vaibhav, how clay has survived for so long? Now we see that they have survived here. So in the excavations, they have survived. Somehow they have survived. Even a piece of cotton cloth has survived. So, right? We have lost many things, but many have survived. Somehow probably there was a gap, somewhere when something collapsed on it. It must have not broken, and there must have been a gap, and the entire weight might have been taken by some other stone or a brick, and therefore they have survived. That's only a logical explanation. Yeah, isn't it, Vaibhav? Now we'll come to religion. Let us look at the religious practices of the Harappans. On your screen, you can see here we have the figure of a god. So we have the figure of a deity. This has been depicted on a seal. This is a Harappan seal. This is a Harappan seal. What is a seal? A clay tablet. I'll come to that in some time. A clay tablet. A tablet made of clay, either square or rectangular in shape. These are called Harappan seals. So on one such seal, on a Harappan seal found at Mohenjo-daro, we have the figure of a deity. We have the figure of a deity or a god. He is sitting cross-legged. You can see on your screen. He is sitting on a low throne, a low simhasan, simhasan or a low throne. He is sitting cross-legged in a Padmasana posture. He is sitting in a Padmasana posture. Okay, he is sitting in a Padmasana posture, Padmasan. And he has got three faces. How do we know that he has got three faces? On your screen, we see three noses. You see, one nose, second nose, and a third nose. So obviously he has three faces. And then he is wearing a horn. He's wearing a cap or a crown with two horns. So he is wearing a horn with, he is wearing a crown with two horns. And some animals are seen around him. On your screen, an elephant. You see here, there's an elephant. There's a tiger, a rhino, and a water buffalo. And again, go back. You see here, we see a elephant, a tiger, a rhino, and a buffalo. And two deer appear at his feet. Two deer appear at his feet. Something has been written here. Something has been written here. We don't know what has been written, as you all know, because the script remains undeciphered. Now, looking at this particular deity or god, looking at this deity, John Marshall, the British historian, archaeologist, called this particular god as Pashupati Mahadeva. He gave a name to this god, Pashupati Mahadeva or Proto Shiva. He called him Pashupati Mahadeva, the lord of animals, Pashupati, or Proto Shiva. That is, he says this god went on to become the later day Shiva. This particular god went on to become the later day Shiva. So Pashupati Mahadeva became Rudra in the Vedic period, and Rudra became Shiva by the Gupta period. So this is the name given by John Marshall. God knows what the Harappans called this god, but John Marshall called him as Pashupati Mahadeva. Now, okay, this is one god. So Harappans used to worship this god. He is the chief male god worshipped by the Harappans. So remember the animals surrounding Pashupati Mahadeva. An elephant, a tiger, a rhino, and a buffalo. And two deer appear at his feet. Right? And he's got three faces. And he's wearing a crown with two horns. Now, similarly, I told you in some other context that on a seal found at Mohenjo-daro, on another seal found at Mohenjo-daro, we have the figure of a female. She has her head down and her legs, both her legs are pointing towards the sky. And between her legs, through her private part, a plant is seen growing. Through her vagina, a plant is seen growing. And this goddess has been called Mother Goddess. This goddess has been called Mother Goddess. Probably Harappans used to worship the Mother Earth. They were personifying the Mother Earth. So they had given a form or a shape to the Mother Earth, and they used to worship Mother Earth. Right? So this was the chief female goddess worshipped by the Harappans. So they used to worship Pashupati Mahadeva and Mother Goddess. And we have found more Mother Goddess seals when compared to Pashupati Mahadeva seals. And on that basis, John Marshall said that probably the society was matriarchal. Based on the religious pantheon or religious practice of these people, John Marshall came to the conclusion that probably this civilization was matriarchal. The Harappan society was matriarchal. Now, we also have found Mother Goddess idols like this. You can see here, this probably is depicting a Mother Goddess. We have found Mother Goddess seals like this, but then we also have found clay models, terracotta models of a supposedly a deity, right? And we have so many necklaces adorning this deity. There's a crown also; she's wearing a crown. So we have found such clay models of goddess. So Harappans used to worship Pashupati Mahadeva and Mother Goddess. Then Harappans also used to worship male and female genitalia, that is, male and female sexual organs. Male genitalia is called linga. Linga. So they used to worship linga. So here, how does life come on this earth? Come into existence when male and female energies come together. We have all been born like that, isn't it? So when male and female energies come together, a new life is created on this earth. So they used to worship the male and the female genitalia. Male genitalia has been called linga, and female genitalia in the form of a ring stone called yoni. So Harappans used to worship male and female sexual organs or sex organs. So they used to worship Pashupati Mahadeva. That seal has been found at Mohenjo-daro. They used to worship Mother Goddess seal, which has again been found at Mohenjo-daro. They used to worship the phallus or the linga and the yoni or the female sexual organ depicted in the form of a ring stone. Then we have found fire altars. What is fire altar? Yagna Kund, Havana Kund. At Harappa, Lothal, Kalibangan. You can see here on your screen. We have found Havana Kund, meant for Havan or Homa, right? So this is a picture of a Havana Kund. So we have fire. These are called fire altars. So these have been found at three places: Harappa, Lothal, and Kalibangan. So remember these three places where altars have been found: Harappa, fire altars, Harappa, Lothal, and Kalibangan. And Harappans might have made some offerings in these fire altars, maybe even animals. So they might have given some animal or a bird as a bali, or made an offering in the fire altar. So we have found fire altars. Then on your screen, they used to worship people trees like people, and animals like the bull and the unicorn. So they used to worship people tree, then animals like the bull and the unicorn. Now, what's a unicorn on your screen? So this is a unicorn. You see here, this is the picture of a unicorn. Now, what's a unicorn in the context of the Harappan civilization? In the context of the Harappan civilization, you see, this is a humpless bull. As you all know, generally a bull has a hump behind its neck. This is a humpless bull. It doesn't have any hump behind its neck. You can see here it is straight. This hump is straight. It doesn't have a hump behind its neck. And how do we know this is a bull? You can see its sexual organ is seen. So this is a bull, right? And then only one horn is seen. Only one of its horns are seen. Why? Because it is standing in a sideway profile. Now imagine I'm a bull. I'm facing you people. So if I was a bull, then both my horns would be seen because I'm facing you. But if I'm standing sideways, only one horn is seen. Why? Because the one which is facing us is superimposed. This one has covered the other one. So this horn has superimposed itself on the other, which is hiding behind almost parallelly behind. So only one horn is seen. So therefore, what is a unicorn then? It's a humpless bull shown in profile. Shown in profile means standing sideways with its horns superimposed on each other, and therefore called Ekashringa. Ekashringa means one horn. So this unicorn is also called Ekashringa. Eka Shringa, or one horn. So Harappans not only used to worship the bull, they also used to worship a unicorn or a humpless bull, right? And we have found an agarbatti stand. You can see here an incense burner. This is called an incense burner. No, dhoop stand, something like a dhoop stand or an incense burner meant to burn incense, or some smoke is created there. So we have found that. So the Harappans used to worship unicorn. Then, so they should worship trees, they should worship bull, animals like bull and unicorn. We have evidence of snake worship. Harappans used to worship snakes. Evidence of snake worship comes from Gumla, a Harappan city called Gumla. From Gumla, we have evidence of snake worship. So snakes were also worshipped by the Harappans. And then they also used to wear amulets, which suggest a belief in demonophobia. Amulets. What is amulets? Tavis, taita as it is called, or tavis. You can see here, this is amulet. So we have evidence of Harappans wearing amulets, tavis. No, just one. This is not a one-horned rhino. This is a bull shown in a sideway profile. This is what the historians have told us, Jaswant. This is what the historians and archaeologists have told us. We have not done any research. We are only students of history. And we go by what the prominent historians and archaeologists have told us and written in those books, in the textbooks, which we are referring to. So we stick by what their opinion. We cannot have our own opinion. Yeah, because as I told, we have done no research. Right? So these are the various gods, or worshipped by the Harappans, and no temple-like structure. Till now, we have not found any temple-like structure in any of the Harappan city. Now, please understand, whatever the Harappans used to do, we continue to do even now. Whatever the Harappans used to do, we continue to do even now. For example, among the Hindus, we worship Shiva, right? And Shiva is worshipped in the form of linga, and linga is supposed to be a symbolic representation of the male sexual organ. Then we have worship of Mother Goddess, Durga, Kali, Lakshmi, Saraswati, Parvati, etc. So Mother Goddess worship is there. Then even now people worship trees. You must have seen in your temples you have trees, and people and women go around the tree. They tie threads, etc. to the trees, and then and so trees are worshipped. Snake worship is there. Then bulls are worshipped on festivals like Pongal, Shankranti, Bihu. Bulls are washed in the villages. Their horns are painted. They are decorated with various flowers, etc. And they are also worshipped. So, and they are also made to jump over fire. So bull worship is even now there. And even now we wear amulets, right? What is called tavis, right? So we believe in ghosts and evil spirits. What do you call negative energy and such things. So that is supposed to fortify us, give us positive energy, or surround us, our body or aura, with a positive state of mind and an aura. So all these are even now followed by us in some way or the other. And also fire altars. Fire altars are there. Homes are performed by, though Homa is more of a Vedic ritual, but Harappans used to, we have evidence of Yagna Kund or Havana Kund there. Even now, people do a Havan and offerings are made into the Havan. So all these practices even now exist along with along with us. What the Harappans were following 5,000 years back. So along with the Chinese civilization, the Harappan civilization is the Indian civilization. Along with the Chinese civilization, the Indian civilization is considered to be one of the continuous blocks of 5,000 years. We have been following many rituals, traditions, and our culture civilization is as old as a continuous block of 5,000 years. Right? Yes, yeah. So that is there, Pihu. Pihu says in Assam there is a temple who worship the goddess Yoni. So that is there in many other places also. It is there, Pihu. Right? So this is about the Harappan religion. Then we come back here. Clear about Harappan religion? No, Vaibhav, they were not Aryans. No, we'll come back to that later. Okay. Aryans were yet to come, Vaibhav. So these are the Harappans. Now we'll come back here. Script and language. Look at the script of the Harappans. First of all, have a look at the picture of the Harappan script. Now, look at the picture of the Harappan script on your screen. Now, it is a fascination. Even now, it's a fascination as to what the script meant. Harappan script initially was pictographic. It was in the form of pictures, and later it became more and more alphabetical. So you can see here, it looks so. With all the knowledge we have, with all the computer advancement we have, we are still not able to read and decipher the Harappan script. And once you can see here, there are 2 sticks here, there are 3 sticks here. This looks so similar. Look here, this looks different. This looks different. There's one small, kundi here. There's another one here like this, right? This looks different. Look here. It looks so. There's a swastik also. Swastik is also there. So God knows what the Harappans meant by this script. So initially, Harappan script was pictographic. So they used to depict, whatever they had to convey through pictures, and later it became more and more alphabetical. Initially pictographic, later more and more alphabetical. So birds, animals, plants have been depicted in their script. And it looks like totally there are 400 to 600 signs, but actually there are only 40 to 60. Understand this? I'm coming to that, coming back here, Harappan script. So initially it was pictographic in the form of pictures, and later it became more and more alphabetical. Now, it looks like totally Harappans had 400 to 600 signs. Understand this? It looks like as if they had totally 400 to 600 signs. It is not so. Actually, there are only 40 to 60. There are only 40 to 60 signs, not 400 to 600. But these 40 to 60 signs are shown in various permutations and combinations. They are shown in different permutations and combinations. So it looks as if they are totally 400 to 600. Actually, there are only 40 to 60. And the rest are all their variants, right? So 40 to 60 signs are shown in various permutations and combinations. So it looks as if there are 400 to 600. Now, when we see a few lines, let us say this is a piece of Harappan script. Let us say something has been written here in about 7-8 lines, right? The direction of writing has been found out. It is what is known as bostrofedon. How do we all write? We write from left to right, isn't it? So we write from left to right like this. We write from left to right. How did the Harappans write? Now, when there are about 7-8 lines, they should write like this: right to left. You see here on your screen, right to left in one line, and then in the alternate line, right to right. Then again, right to left, and then left to right. Then right to left, left to right. So this has been called bostrofedon. Bostrofedon. Alternate right to left and left to right. Or what is also called serpentine style. This is also called serpentine style. Serpentine style of writing. We are not able to read the script, but we are able to understand the occurrence of signs. We are able to understand the frequent occurrence of signs, and on that basis, we come to know the direction of writing. Did you understand? See, Ankush, swastik is the main sign of Aryans, like Hitler also showed. No, we're not going to those things, Ankush. No, swastik, if the Aryans might have borrowed it from the Harappans, why do you say that the Aryans invented swastik? If swastik was there in the Harappan script, Aryans might have borrowed that script. We can also say that way, isn't it? So therefore, Aryans were yet to come to the Indus zone. They came 500 years later. Once the Harappan civilization declined and disintegrated, After a gap of 500 years, they came. Sometime around 1500 BC, they came to the Indus region. Okay, we'll come back here. So here on your screen, so here the Harappan script was pictographic. Signs represent birds, fish, variety of human forms, and various scholars have tried to decipher the Harappan script, but they have failed. S.R. Rao was one of them, Father Heras, Natwar Jha, Rajaram, etc. The direction of writing is bostrofedon, right to left in one line and left to right in the next line. Actually, there are only 40 to 60 signs, and these 40 to 60 are shown in various permutations and combinations, and therefore it looks that there were totally 400 to 600 signs, but actually there are only 40 to 60. Regarding the language spoken by the Harappans, we don't know. What language they spoke, we don't know. Probably it was a Proto-Dravidian language. It was probably a Proto-Dravidian language. That is, it became one of the Dravidian languages. That's what historians tell us. Probably it was a Proto-Dravidian language. It became one of the later-day Dravidian languages. Then let us come to pottery. So you see how vast this topic is. Prelims is, it's very vast. You have to read so much to just answer a few questions. But then that's how the exam is structured. So it's very vast. But this will help you to answer mains questions, facts with analysis. Without knowing the facts, you cannot analyze. So once you get the facts right, then you can analyze. So that's how the exam is structured. So we go into those basics. It became one of the Dravidian languages. What do I mean is that the historians say that the language spoken by the Harappans became one of the later day Dravidian languages, Proto-Dravidian languages, right? That's called Proto-Dravidian. That is, it later became one of the Dravidian languages. That is a presumption as given by historians. Now, pottery, Harappan pottery. Let's discuss Harappan pottery. On your screen, look at the pictures of Harappan pots. These are the various types of pots of the Harappan civilization. We have found different types of pots. They're very beautiful, very strong, of different sizes and shapes, and meant for different purposes. Now, what was the technique of making these pots? First of all, they used to make the pots on the wheel. Understand this? It was a wheel-turned pottery. So they would make the pot on the wheel. So once the pot was made, it was put in the kiln. It was baked in the kiln. So it is fired in the kiln. So therefore, the pot becomes hard and strong. So then they'll remove it from the kiln, and then they'll allow the pot to cool. Once the pot cooled down, so imagine this is the pot. So this has been made on a wheel. This is the wheel. Okay. The pot has been made on top of this wheel. So this is the pot. Once the pot has been made on the wheel, it is fired in the kiln, right? It's baked in the kiln. So it becomes hard and strong. Then what did the Harappans do? They would give it a red color slip of paint. So they'll give it a nice red color slip of paint. So the pot was painted. And once the red color dried up, they used to make designs in black. So the background was red. Okay, so this is a red pot. Imagine this. So this is a pot in red color. So they have painted this pot in red, right? This is a pot in red color, painted red all over. Then they'll make designs in black. Whatever designs they had to make, they'll make it in black. So Harappan pottery is called black on red ware. Black on red ware. You can see here BRW. In short, black on red ware. Red is the background on which black was the design. And they used to use pots on a daily basis. It was utilitarian in nature. It was utilitarian in nature, not for aesthetics, not for beauty. So many of you might be having pots in your hall room or in your entrance room. You might have seen a pot, a huge pot, a lady holding a huge pot, a model of a lady, a clay model of a lady holding a huge pot, and water is falling into that pot in a hotel lobby. So these are all meant for aesthetics. Harappans used to not use pots for beauty or aesthetics. On a daily basis, for their utility, they used to use pots. And we have different types of pots. For example, on your screen, you can see here, glazed pottery. This is the earliest example of its kind in the world, I believe. Glazed pottery, polychrome, incised pottery, perforated pottery. meant for straining liquor. So you have a pot. Imagine what is perforated pottery meant for straining liquor. So let's say this is a pot. So it has got a small layer here, and it's got holes. It's got holes on top. And such pots were used for straining liquor. Perforated pottery. Perforated means with perforations, holes, meant for straining liquor. Like you strain coffee and tea, and then you with a strainer and we drink it. Once everything is strained, we take the residue below and then we drink the coffee or the tea. Similarly, perforated pots were used to strain liquor. Knob pottery with knobs on outside. For example, imagine there's a pot with knobs on outside. So they use different pots of different shapes and sizes. Harappan pottery is called black on red ware. How they prepared color, minerals, natural minerals or plant extracts. Some plants give some colors. So Harappans would have known that. And even when we come to painting topic, when we do art and culture, we'll talk about it. Painting, we have Indian painting topic. So we have evidence of painting from the Upper Paleolithic period. Okay, but it becomes common from the Mesolithic period onwards. But we have examples of painting from the Upper Paleolithic period. So plant extracts, natural plant extracts and minerals, natural minerals, like for example, hematite. So hematite stone gives out red color. It has got a lot of iron content in that. So it gives a red color. So red was derived from hematite stone, like that. From which period onwards liquor existed, I don't know, Hari. But then Harappans used to drink something intoxicating, right? Perforated pots. They were used to strain liquor. So you have plants. You have some plants in the forest, which for example, I think you have a tree in Africa. I forget the name of the tree. It gives fruits, and the elephants go and gorge on those fruits, and that is slightly intoxicating. So when elephants have plenty of that fruit, they are almost wallowing in the mud, like as if they are drunk. So I think bubaba, something like that. I don't get that name. Mahua tree in India. Okay, Mahua tree. Deepshika says Mahua tree in India. In Africa, there's a tree which makes the elephants go crazy and drunk. So uh, liquor, man, somehow has discovered something which gives you that kick. Okay, so we'll come back here. Pottery. Did you get me that? Bulls are made on almost all the things. Doesn't mean does this mean male dominance? Not necessarily. Um, bull is a symbol of strength. Bull is a symbol of strength and a very important animal. But with respect to agriculture, in farming, agriculture, it's a very important animal to have the bull to plow the land, etc. So, and it is also a symbol of strength. So, whether it denoted male dominance, maybe subtly, because mostly it was the men who would use the bulls for plowing, etc. Did you get me that? What's your doubt, Roshan? Can you be specific? No, undecided. Yeah, so yeah, the thing is, it became one of the later. So what is Proto-Dravidian here is like proto-history. Proto-history is what we have written records, but we are not able to read them. We are not able to understand them. So similarly, it shows traces of Dravidian language. The Harappan language might have become one of the later day Dravidian language. That's what the historians say. That's called Proto-Dravidian language, having certain essential elements of a Dravidian language, right? Uh, Roshan, what's your doubt? Any specific doubt? You please ask me. Yeah, baobab tree. Thank you, Vaibhav. Baobab tree. That's what I was looking for. Baobab tree. So that's what the elephants in Africa, they get drunk over. Uh, Vaibhav says baobab. Okay. Um, yes, yes, it is true. Ankush, what you're saying is right. Boba, BAO, yeah, Baobab tree. This is what the tree in Africa. But don't, it's not relevant for the from the exam. Why are you getting distracted by all these things? Why are you getting distracted by all these things? Not important from the exam point of view. Roshan, can you be specific? What's your doubt? Right? So this is about Harappan pottery. Roshan, you have to be specific. Unless you're specific, I'll not be able to understand what you're trying to ask me. Okay, we'll come back here. So you can see some of the pictures I've put here. Harappan pottery. These are terracotta figurines. Right? Now let us come to the seals, Harappan seals. Now let us first of all look at the pictures of Harappan seals. On your screen, you can see some pictures of Harappan seals. So these are clay tablets. Basically, what is a seal? A Harappan seal is a clay tablet, either square or rectangular in shape. We have some animals depicted on them. For example, this is a humped bull. This is a humped bull. This is a humpless bull, right? So there's an elephant here. There's a hero grappling with two tigers. So these are various pictures seen on these Harappan seals. Now let us understand what was the purpose of these seals. Harappan seals. So what are seals? Basically, it's a clay tablet. Understand this? It's a clay tablet. Harappan seals are nothing but it's a clay tablet, either square or rectangular in shape. It is either square or rectangular in shape. The shape is either square or rectangular. And we have found on some seals, understand this, some of these seals have been found in Mesopotamia. Harappan seals have been found in Mesopotamia. And on these, yeah, what design? So making this design, a lot of time it will take place. Yeah, see, that is what is aesthetics, Shailaja, isn't it? We have discussed about it. What is aesthetics as part of civilization? I told you they had a conscious aesthetic awareness, appreciation of art, beauty, music, painting, dancing, etc. So this is part of the aesthetics, right? So we'll come back here. Seals. Now we have found some seals in Mesopotamia, Harappan seals in Mesopotamia. And on some of these seals, we have a rope impression. We have the impression of a rope, something like this. You see here, this is the impression of a rope. And these seals, Harappan seals, have some distinct symbol on them. A distinct symbol has been seen on them. For example, let us say there's another seal. There's another seal in Harappan seal found in Mesopotamia, and this has got another symbol, something like this. Okay, so each of these seals have a distinct symbol marked on them. They have a rope impression on them, and something has been written on top. What has been written, we don't know. Something has been written on top. And looking at this, historians have come to the conclusion that the main purpose of seals was to mark ownership of property. Understand this? Main purpose of seal was to mark ownership of property. So they must have been used for commercial purposes. Seals must have been used by the Harappans for commercial purposes. Each important citizen in the Harappan civilization might have had his own seal. For example, let's say we know this, Harappans had a port at Lothal. So this is India, let us say, this is Lothal here. So they had a port at Lothal, and ships used to go to Mesopotamia. So imagine this is a ship going to Mesopotamia. Now somebody wants to send a consignment. Let us say he wants to send 10 bundles of cotton. He wants to send 10 bundles of cotton to somebody in Mesopotamia. So what will he do? He will pack up these bundles. So imagine this is the bundle of cotton, right? And then what he will do? He will tie them with ropes. He'll tie this bundle with ropes. So this blue color line is the rope. Let us say rope. So along with this rope, he will attach one seal. So this is a seal. Let's say this is a seal. So that person called A has his own seal, which has its own it has its own distinct symbol on it. So that is his seal. It is specifically his seal. It has its own distinct symbol on that particular clay tablet. So he'll attach it to this rope, and then he will dump all those bundles on the ship. So when the ship reaches Mesopotamia, the consignee, the person who is supposed to receive the goods, he will notice the signs. He will notice the signs on that particular bundles, and then he'll understand that it is meant for him. So the main purpose of seal was to mark ownership of property, and it is said that every important citizen in the Harappan civilization might have had his own seal. Right now, on some seals we find the figure of a deity. For example, Pashupati Mahadeva seal found at Mohenjo-daro. We have the figure of a deity sitting cross-legged on a throne, and some animals have surrounded him. So, from some seals, we come to know the religious practices of the Harappans. For example, the Pashupati Mahadeva seal at Mohenjo-daro, the Mother Goddess seal at Mohenjo-daro. But that was not the main purpose of seals. From some seals, we come to know the religious practices of the Harappans, but the main purpose of seal was to mark ownership of property. So they must have been used for commercial purposes, for trading purposes. This is what is the presumption. What was the main material used to make those seals? Steatite, a soft stone called steatite was used to make these seals by the Harappans. But we also have found seals made of ivory, faience, terracotta, copper. So we have found seals also made of these materials: ivory, copper, faience, etc. Did you understand? This is the main purpose of seals. On your screen, we come back here. This is supposed to be the greatest artistic creation of the Harappans. About 2,000 have been made. 2,000 have been found. Mainly made of steatite, a soft stone called steatite, sometimes of copper, shell, agate, etc. We have, on majority of them, we have an animal engraved with a short inscription. So animal has been engraved on them with a short inscription. Something has been written on it. Unicorn is the most frequently depicted animal. So what are the other animals apart from a unicorn? Elephant, tiger, rhino, antelope, and a crocodile. So totally remember these animals here. Um, Six animals have been depicted on Harappan seals: unicorn, elephant, tiger, rhino, antelope, and a crocodile. So these are the animals depicted: elephant, tiger, rhino, antelope, and a crocodile, apart from the unicorn. What are the main types of seals? Square type with a carved animal and an inscription. So square type of a seal with a carved animal and an inscription, and rectangular type with an inscription only. So no animal is seen on the rectangular seal, only an inscription is seen. Main purpose of seal to mark ownership of property. Did you understand? Seals. These are supposed to be the greatest artistic creation of the Harappans. Can you raise your hands? Did you understand Harappan seals? Hello? Any doubts here? Okay. No, what was attached to seals? No, seals were attached to on some of the seals, Vaibhav, on some of the seals, we have found rope impressions of a rope in some of the Mesopotamian cities. These are Harappan seals, which are bearing a rope impression on them. And there would also be a hole. On many of these seals, there would be a hole, something like this. Okay, so it was obviously they must have used a cord or a wire to attach these seals to something. That's what I said. Main purpose of seal was to mark ownership of property. It must have been used for trading purpose. Ankush. Yeah, did you get me that? Right. Now let us look at the burial practices of the Harappans. Burial practices. Now, generally, there were three methods of disposal of the dead. There were mainly three methods of disposal of the dead used by the Harappans. What are the three methods of burials found at Mohenjo-daro? One is complete burial, or what is known as extended inhumation. Complete burial or extended inhumation. So, what is complete burial? When somebody died, understand this, when somebody died, let us say a pit was dug up. A pit was dug up like this. The dead body was placed on its back. So, the dead body is placed on its back like that, right? And the head is mostly pointing towards the north, sometimes towards the east, sometimes towards the west, and hardly any towards the south. Mostly the head is pointing towards the north, right? Sometimes towards the east and sometimes towards the west, and hardly towards the south. Only one or two instances we find where the head is pointing towards the south. Otherwise, that was never the case. And then the pit was covered. The pit was covered with mud. So this is the most common method of disposal of dead bodies amongst the Harappans. Complete burial, or what is called extended inhumation. This is number one. Complete burial. Second type of burial is fractional burial. What is fractional burial? When somebody died, the dead body was exposed to wild animals and birds of carrion like vultures. So vultures will come and feed on the dead body. Wild animals will come and they'll eat the flesh of the dead person. And then whatever was remaining was collected and buried into the earth. That's called fractional burial. You understand? Burial of some bones after the exposure of the body to wild beasts and birds. This is called fractional burial. Third type of burial was post-cremation burials. What is post-cremation burial? The body was burnt. No, the body was burnt, but then everything might not be fully burnt. Maybe the part of the skull may be left unburnt. Finger, the fingernail, hair, femur, the biggest bone in our body, thigh bone, a part of it might not be fully burnt. So all those were collected in a pot. So the ashes and the bones were collected in the pot, and the pot was buried into the ground. That's called post-cremation burial. So complete burial, fractional burial, post-cremation burials. Are you there with me? These are the three methods of disposal of dead bodies amongst the Harappans: complete burial, fractional burial, post-cremation burials. Now, apart from these three methods of disposal of dead bodies, there were in some sites, in some Harappan sites, we find other methods of disposal of dead bodies. On your screen, double burial at Lothal. What is double burial here? At Lothal, a male and a female have been buried next to each other. A male and a female have been buried next to each other, suggesting the practice of suggesting the practice of very good, Rohit, sati. So suggesting the practice of sati, a male and a suggesting the practice of sati. So double burial has been found at Lothal. You can see probably this is the picture of a double burial on your screen. This could be a double burial, or here also there's a double burial, right? This is double burial. Then dog burial at Ropar. So dog has been buried along with its master at Ropar. At Ropar, we have found in Punjab, we have found a dog buried along with its master. I'll show you the picture. Just hold on. You see here on your screen, this is a dog buried along with his master at Ropar. Dog buried below human burial. This is the skeleton of a dog, the face of a dog. Ropar, I think is in Haryana, right? Ropar in Haryana, Punjab. Is it dog sati? No, not dog sati, Baba. My God. Vaibhav, this is a dog buried below a human burial, found at Ropar. Ropar in Punjab. Yeah, that's what I said. Just hold on. So this is about dog burial. Then pot burial. Pot burial at Surkotada. You can see probably this is a pot burial on your screen. You can see the picture of a pot. So obviously it must have been a post-cremation burial. So the dead body was burnt and the remains were collected in a pot, like bones, ashes, etc., and buried. That's called pot burial at Surkotada. And coffin burial comes from Harappa. Like Christians keep a dead body in a wooden coffin, and then they bury the dead body along with the coffin. That's called coffin burial. So we have evidence of coffin burial from Harappa. So this could be the picture of a coffin burial. You can see here the picture of a coffin burial. Yeah, obviously dog is would be killed. The master died, and then they killed the dog also and buried the dog along with the master. So I said Bhimare, it suggests the practice of sati. That's what historians are telling us, that it is suggestive of the practice of sati. The husband might have died, and then they will, the wife might also have died together with the husband. So suggesting of the practice of sati. We do not say she committed sati. It suggests the practice of sati. It could be anything, Varsha. This is what is the interpretation given by historians, archaeologists, right? I know I'm only a mouthpiece of these historians and archaeologists. So whatever is there in the textbooks, reference books, I'm only telling you that. I have not done any research, right? So, and neither any of you have done any research. So whatever the historians and archaeologists have told us, we are only understanding that. Now, pot burial doesn't suggest any afterlife. It was just that the person was, once he died, his body was burnt and the remains were collected in a pot and the pot was buried. What you call arthi, na? Nowadays, even if you go to a crematorium, they'll give you an arthi, isn't it? When the person whoever has been burnt to ashes, they give you the ash of the dead person. And what is the tradition? Generally, we dispose it off in a river, in a river, right? In a meeting point of two or more rivers, sangam. So that is the tradition among the Hindus, right? Very similarly. Okay. So the subject expert has answered that for you, Deepshika. How is pot burial different from post cremation burials? So all small letters, vijay.kumar@byju's.com. If you have any queries, specific queries or doubts, or you want me to, answer some of your questions, please mail me. Right, Sakshi? We'll come back here. Fractional burial looks violent. See, every culture has its own method of disposal of dead bodies. Bhimre, for example, Parsis. So Parsis, even now, when John Abraham is a Parsi, that film actor John Abraham. Tatas are Parsis. No? So how do they dispose of the dead body? It is part of their culture. They were from Iran. Parsis came from all the way from Iran sometime in the 9th century AD. The Parsis. So here they have a temple of fire, the Parsi temple. They worship the fire, as you all know. So in the Parsi temple of fire, there's a well. So when a Parsi dies, they place the dead body in that well, and vultures come. Vultures come and feed on the dead person. Now Parsis believe that since vultures fly very high, they are messengers to heaven. They carry the soul of the dead person to the gates of heaven. They will leave the soul of the dead person at the entrance of the gates of heaven and they'll come back. So that's what these Parsis believe. And even now, Parsis follow that practice. So every culture has its own method of disposal of dead bodies, right? We cannot say which is the best. We cannot say that. Every culture has its own method of disposal of dead bodies. Muslims also, they also bury the dead, but then the dead body is placed in a particular angle, particular alignment. Christians, they put it in a coffin, a wooden coffin, and then they bury it. They lower it into the ground. Among Lingaites, you have the Lingayat Swamis. They are made to sit in a crossed leg position. The Mathadipati is made to sit in a crossed leg position, and a pit is dug up, and he is made to sit in a crossed leg position, the dead person, and then he is buried in a sitting position. So every culture has its own method of disposal of dead bodies, right? So therefore, Deepshika, body was cut to fit into the pot. Is it so? Not necessarily, Deepshika. Not necessarily. It might have been, the body could be, the pot was big enough for the body to, for the pot to holding the body. So we have, for example, the Ajivikas. You have a particular sect called Ajivikas. They used to sit inside pots and they used to meditate, right? So obviously they must have been king size pots. So they used to have this practice where they used to sit inside the pots and meditate. So that's how it was. Yeah, vultures are in critically endangered species. That is true, Pooja. But then we also have a vulture breeding center for that reason. Vulture breeding center for that reason, because vultures feed on the dead animals also. Which have been plants are spread with diclofenac, and and then the cattle feed on the plants which have been sprayed with diclofenac. So that diclofenac gets into the bloodstream of the cattle, and the cattle dies. The vultures come and feed on the dead cattle, and then the diclofenac gets into the vulture's body, and the vultures die. So this has been a problem, and then we have some governments in India. The Parsi community has requested them to establish a vulture breeding center, because there is dearth of vultures for their dead bodies to be eaten. So all this is there. It's part of current affairs. Presumably barter system. Presumably barter system, Ankush. Okay, we'll come back here. Now, decline of this civilization. Decline of this civilization. So after 2000 BC, the Indus culture slowly declined and gradually faded out. So what are the various theories as regards the decline of this civilization? First of all, change in the course of the river Indus. Understand this, all of you. Just understand this. So we'll not be going too deep into this particular aspect, origin and decline of the civilization. This is only a general studies class, not an optional history class, but we'll come back here. Change in the course of the river Indus. Now, one of the theories suggested as regards the decline of the civilization is the change in the course of the river Indus. Change in the course of the river Indus. Now, how do we explain this? In other words, the river Indus has changed its course. And how do we know this? We have something called paleo channels. Understand this? Paleo channels. So we have, with the help of satellite imagery, with the help of satellites, what we now observe is that the river Indus was flowing 30 kilometers east during the Harappan period. When the Harappan civilization was flourishing, the river Indus was flowing 30 kilometers east. Now the same river is flowing 30 kilometers west. So paleo channels are nothing but the earlier path of the river. So we can trace the path of the river. It has left a trail, right? And that trail has got dried up because the river has changed its course. Now, how did the river change its course is the next question. This particular civilization was in a seismic zone. Understand this? It was in a seismic zone. Earthquake prone area. Earthquake prone area. So there must have been a tremor at the mouth of the river, where the river originates, at the mouth of the river. Or rather, should I say that the source of the river. So where the river originates. So there must have been a serious tremor, earthquake, and forcing the river to change its course. So the same river, Indus, which was flowing 30 kilometers east, is now flowing 30 kilometers west. And satellite imagery proves this. So please understand, the Indus civilization was a river valley-based civilization. Cities had been founded on the banks of rivers. They were dependent on the river for their water supply. Once the river changed its course, there was shortage of water. So whatever cities were on the river Indus, like Chanhudaro, Mohenjo-daro, people had shortage of water and they were forced to abandon their cities and go away. This is one theory. Change in the course of the river Indus. Number two, increasing aridity. It's not salinity, it is increasing aridity. Make that correction, please. It is not salinity, make increasing aridity. So the weather, we have evidence of the weather drastically changing uh, uh, towards a later period. So there was a shortage of rainfall, and so it became very, very arid. And because of the shortage of rainfall and shortage of water, Harappans were forced to abandon their cities and go away to places where there was water supply. So that is another reason, increasing aridity. Third is the flooding concept. Now look here. Every year, we know this. Every year there should be floods in the Indus River. Every year there is to be floods in the Indus River. We know that. But then once in a decade or once in a few decades, there might have been a gigantic flood. There must have been a gigantic flood. There must have been a gigantic flood submerging the city of Mohenjo-daro. And we have evidence to prove this. Look here. In archaeology, we have something called vertical digging. Apart from horizontal digging, which is done about 3 to 5 feet below the ground level or a large area, that's called surface digging. We have vertical digging. So where they dig up 10, 50 feet, 100 feet, even 300, 500 feet below the ground. Now, when vertical digging was done or excavations are done at Mohenjo-daro, what the archaeologists were astonished to notice is as follows. On your screen, you can see here, digging is going on from here, from the top level, from the ground level. They found a city. So there was a city here, right? They dug below the city. They dug up below the city, and what did they find? They found sand. So this is a layer of sand. Okay. Now they dug up below the sand. They found another city submerged under the sand. So the sand has covered this city, layer number 2. So if this is layer number 1, this is city number 2, and there's a sand which has covered city 2. When they dug up below the city 2 or city number 2, they found another layer of sand. This is another layer of sand. When they dug up below that sand, they found another city below that. This is city number 3. And so on and so forth. They have found 9 levels of building. 9 levels of building interspersed with sand. So sand, city, city, sand, like that, going 300 feet below the ground. Going 300 feet below the ground. So what does it show? It shows lack of plasticity of mind. Lack of plasticity of mind. The Harappans were inflexible in nature. They were very rigid in their mindset. You see, in 2000, when was this? 2013? 2013, we had a great flood, in Uttarakashi, isn't it? Kedarnath went under the flood waters. Um, Kedarnath, entire city got submerged, and that temple of Kedarnath also was under the water. The idol of Shankaracharya got damaged. So entire city went under the flood waters. Like that, we might have had a gigantic flood. Once in a few decades, once in 50 years, or once in 25 years, there might have been a gigantic flood. So what happened? The Harappans ran away. Whoever escaped, they ran away. Okay, and then of course many were carried away. Many of them escaped. So once the flood waters receded, they came back and they built a new city on the same spot. So the entire city had been submerged with sand. On the same spot, they built another city. After another, let us say another 30 years or 50 years, another gigantic flood came, again submerging the city of Mohenjo-daro. Again, they came back and built a city on the same spot. So that explains the flooding concept. And archaeology is there to prove that. Archaeology supports this. From archaeology, we come to know there are 9 building levels at Mohenjo-daro, interspersed by sand, one below the other, going down 300 feet below the ground. Are you there with me? This is flooding concept. The fourth is RN invasion theory. Now, this Aryan invasion theory was given by Mortimer Wheeler. Now, look here. How do we know that the Aryans invaded the Harappan civilization? Now, at Mohenjo-daro, we have found a building. We have found a dilapidated building where we have found 13 skeletons of women and children huddled next to each other. So, 13 skeletons of women and children have been found. and they are found huddled next to each other, right? These skeletons, those obviously they are scared of somebody, so they have huddled next to each other, and each of those skeletons bear a deep sword cut mark. Bear a deep sword cut mark. So on those skeletons, we have the image or the impression of a long sword. So somebody with a long sword has killed them. Now, Harappans never used to use a long sword. They used to always use a short sword, that too for self-defense. They used to use a short sword only for self-defense. Now, historians presume, I said presume, that some outsider, maybe the Aryans, might have attacked the Harappans. Historians presume that some outsider, maybe the Aryans, might have attacked the Harappans. Now, when I come to the next chapter, Vedic period, I will speak about it again. The Aryans used to worship Indra. The main god of the Aryans was Indra. He was their warlord and rain god. He was their main god, warlord as well as rain god. And Indra has been called by different titles. He has been given different titles like, Jitendra, Somapa, Purandhara, Shatakratu, Vritrahan, etc. Now, one of the titles of Indra is Purandhara. What is Purandhara? Breaker of forts. Breaker of forts. So historians interpret this particular title in the following manner. They say that the Aryans used to drink soma and sura, intoxicants of those days. So the Aryans used to drink soma and sura, probably an intoxicant. They used to worship their main god Indra, who was their warlord, and then they used to go to war. And here, breaker of forts probably refers to the citadel area of the Harappans. So Harappans had a citadel area, western part of the city was surrounded by a massive brick wall, isn't it? So Harappans used to attack the citadel areas. Probably that is where the ruler or rulers of the Harappans used to stay. And we have evidence of the Harappans having strengthened the fort walls, the citadel walls at Harappa at a later date. Archaeology shows us that the Harappans have strengthened the citadel walls at Harappa at a later stage. So, which shows that probably they were afraid of somebody might have attacked them, probably the Aryans. So, they have strengthened the fort walls or the citadel walls. So, archaeology also supports this. We have literary evidence also as regards the probably attack of the Aryans. So, here we have a shlok in the Rig Veda, which says, let those whose deity be phallus not penetrate our sanctuary. Let those whose deity be phallus not penetrate our sanctuary. Now, what is the meaning of this? Aryans were nature worshippers. We have looked at the religion of the Harappans. Harappans used to worship Pashupati Mahadeva, Mother Goddess, male and female sexual organs, trees like people tree, bull, unicorn, etc. Aryans were nature worshippers. They used to worship sun, wind, rain, thunder, lightning, earth, etc. Surya, Chandra, Prithvi, Akasha, Vayu, Varuna, Agni, etc. These are the gods worshipped by the Aryans. They were nature worshippers. Right. Now, um, so they were nature worshippers, the Aryans. So here we have a shloka in the Rig Veda which says, don't allow them near us because they are phallus worshippers. They worship the male sexual organ, so keep them away. And there's also a shloka in the Rig Veda which criticizes the Harappans, probably the Harappans, as Krishna Tvach, Mrudra Tvach, that is dark skinned. Krishna Tvach is dark skinned. Anasa, snub nosed. So these people are phallus worshippers. They are dark skinned. They also have a snub nose. So therefore, keep them away. So here, historians say that probably, the Aryans were very proud of their color. When I come to Vedic chapter, we'll talk about it. Aryans were very, very proud of their color. They were tall. They were having a blonde hair, radiant complexion, and they looked down upon the original inhabitants of the Sapta Sindhu region, presumably the remnants of the Harappans. Harappans had abandoned that area and gone away, and only after 500 years did the Aryans come to that area. But some Harappans might have been still living there because they were worshipping the phallus. And here in the Rig Veda, we have a shloka which says, let those whose deity be phallus not penetrate our sanctuary. These people are worshipping the phallus or male sexual organ. Let them, so therefore keep them away. Did you get me? So archaeology and literary evidence also support this fact of Aryan invasion theory. Hello, are you there with me? Are you there with me? Did you understand what I just now said? Just understand this much. You don't need to know the details. Aryan invasion theory. Now we'll come back here. Decline of trade with Sumeria. Decline of trade with Sumeria. So here, please understand, because of the change in the weather, the Harappans abandoned that area and they went away towards the Ganga basin. Not en masse, in batches they went, and they began to engage in individual farming. They began to engage in individual farming initially. So whatever they produced was not able to generate a surplus which could maintain a huge city like that of Harappa, Mohenjo-daro. So I repeat, for various reasons, mostly because of the change in the weather, the increasing aridity or the shortage of rainfall, Harappans abandoned those areas where they were living and went away towards the Gangetic basin, but not in en masse, but in phases. And they began to engage in individual farming. So whatever they cultivated was not enough to sustain, produce a surplus which could maintain a huge city, or which could sustain a huge city like that of Harappa or Mohenjo-daro. So because of that reason, there was shortage of production plummeted. Production of specialized goods came down, and therefore that also affected the trade with Sumeria. They had extensive trade with Sumeria or Mesopotamia. So when they began to produce less goods, and that too only for their own for their own self usage and not for trading purpose, that also affected the trade with Sumeria or Mesopotamia. And the last is the ecological degradation theory, as given by Walter Fairservice. Walter A. Fairservice. Not necessary to remember the names of these historians. From the general studies point of view, ecological degradation theory given by Walter A. Fairservice. He says that the Harappans overexploited their limited resources. This was in a semi-arid zone. The Harappan civilization was in a semi-arid zone. You have a semi-deciduous forest, not a tropical rainforest. Rather, it was a semi-deciduous forest. So what did the Harappans do? Their cattle overgrazed the land. Their cattle overgrazed the land. They engaged in over cultivation and they cut down the forest. So they engaged in deforestation of that area. Why did they cut down the forest? Because they required to feed the growing population of their cities. Harappa, Mohenjo-daro, at its peak, had a population of 35,000 to 40,000. So the population was increasing, and you required food to keep those the granaries filled up with food. At the same time, they required wood to keep those kilns burning. Harappans used to make burned bricks, buildings out of burned bricks, and they required firewood to keep those kilns burning day and night. So that resulted in large-scale deforestation, over-cultivation, over-grazing. And this brought about a change in the weather of that area, according to Walter A. Fairservice. And that resulted in when the weather changed, Harappans were forced to abandon their cities and go away to rural areas. So not one theory, but please understand, not one theory, but a combination of all these factors have been attributed for the decline of this civilization. What the Aryans did is they gave it a final blow. Even before the Aryans came, the civilization was already on its decline. What the Aryans did is they came and gave it a final blow. Did you understand? These are the various theories regarding the decline of the Harappan civilization. Fifth point is decline of trade with Sumeria. I said, Pooja, see, decline of trade with Sumeria is so the Harappans, they um, um, so so here I said, the decline of trade with Sumeria is here. You see the Harappans, they, because of the increasing aridity, because of the change in the weather, they began to migrate towards the Gangetic basin in phases, in batches, in small numbers, not en masse. And they engaged in individual farming. So whatever they cultivated was not able to generate a surplus, which could maintain a huge city like that of Harappa or Mohenjo-daro. So therefore, the production plummeted. There was a drastic reduction in the production of food grains. At the same time, the cottage and small scale industries, whatever they produced in the cottage and small scale industries, also drastically declined, and that affected the trade with Sumeria or Mesopotamia, right? Because they were not, producing for exports. They were producing whatever they began to produce only. They began to produce only for their own usage, not for the larger purpose of exports. Do you understand, Pooja? I'm coming to that, Bhimre. Now, we cannot use the word, I'll answer your question, Bhimre. Now, understand this. We cannot use the word destroyed. Now, what have the school books told us? Aryans came and attacked the Harappans and destroyed this civilization. We cannot use the word destroyed. I'll tell you why. Why cannot we use the word destroyed? Because many of the practices of the Harappans are even now followed by us. This is a legacy left behind by the Harappans. The way we design our cities, the Harappans, the grid system, the way we design our cities, giving importance to health and hygiene, taking bath is part of our culture, which the Harappans have left behind. And it's a legacy left behind by the Harappans. The religious practices of the Harappans are very similar to what we are following. We are copying the Harappans, worship of, linga, mother goddess, trees, people tree, bulls, snakes, etc. So, and demonophobia, wearing tawis or, all those things. They're all a legacy left behind by the Harappans. What we can say is that the civilization underwent the process of deurbanization. Understand this? The civilization went through a process of or underwent a process of deurbanization. For various reasons, the Harappans abandoned their cities. We looked at the reasons below, 6 points. For various reasons, the Harappans abandoned their cities and went away to rural areas. So from rural areas, they had established cities and civilization. From again, they went away to rural areas. So the Harappan civilization underwent a process of what is known as de-urbanization. We cannot use the word destroyed, because many of the practices of the Harappans are even now followed by us. Are you there with me? English bond method of constructing walls, doors placed at the corners of the walls, right? Rooms built around a central courtyard. The religious practices of the Harappans, the way that we design our cities, very, very similar to what the Harappans used to do 5,000 years back. And therefore, we can only say that the civilization underwent the process of de-urbanization. We cannot use the word destroyed. Are you there with me? Bhimare, are you there with me? Okay, so we'll take a break then. Almost it is now 6:58 on my watch. We can meet at 7:15. 15 minutes break. Yeah, we meet at 7:15, right? You can say that, from urbanization, they again began to live in rural communities, Deepshika. They began to live in rural communities. They went back to agriculture and stock raising, animal husbandry, right? They were not living in cities anymore. They began to live in rural areas. And in many places, we have again the Harappans adopting copper. Instead of bronze, they began to adopt copper. Generally, Chalcolithic age precedes the Bronze Age. But in some parts of India, we see that Chalcolithic age comes even after the Bronze Age, right? Clear? Okay, so we'll go for a 15 minutes break and come back. 7:15. We meet at 7:15. We'll finish this chapter and then we'll go to the next chapter, Vedic period. Okay, so we'll come back at 7:15. Carry on. Good evening, everyone. Can we continue? Hello. Good evening. All are back. Can we continue? Ankush, Shruti, Brajneet, Vartika. Okay. Yuksin. Great. Now let us look at the important sites. Okay. Important sites. Again, factual information. Wherever I have to explain to you, I will explain to you. So I have covered most of the information in my PPTs. Go through it. If you find anything new, please add it to your notes, and that should be sufficient. Now let us look at the important sites. Now this is the site of Harappa. You can see the ruined site of Harappa, the first site to be discovered, and therefore this civilization is called Harappan civilization. So Harappa was the first type site of this civilization. It was discovered here at Harappa, and therefore this civilization is also called Harappan civilization. Yeah, Bhimare, just hold on. Bhimare, I'll come to that. Just hold on. We have the post-urban phase to discuss. We will discuss that. And so, for various reasons, Harappans abandoned their cities and went away to rural areas. We'll come to that, Bhimare. Okay, so look at on your screen. So, what are the artifacts found at Harappa? So, various in the excavations, what are the various things found? So, we have found 891 seals. That's about 36.12% of the total writing material. We have found two stone figurines. Understand this? Two stone figurines. One red sandstone naked male torso. So to the right of your screen, you can see a picture of a red sandstone naked male torso. So torso is only till here, and looking at this, many of the Jains, I have put it in a bracket here, Jainism. So when I do Jainism, Buddhism, as part of art and culture, we will talk about it. Jains claim antiquity to the religion. So in Jainism, as you know, there are 24 Tirthankars. Who's a Tirthankara, etc. I will explain that later when I do Jainism topic. But then both Buddhism and Jainism were born in the 6th century BC. And Vardhaman Mahavira was the 24th and the last Tirthankara in Jainism. So there are 24 Tirthankaras in Jainism. But historians don't agree to the existence of the first 22 Tirthankaras. They say that they were mythological characters. The first 22 Tirthankars. We have definite evidence about the existence of the 23rd and the 24th Tirthankara. 23rd Tirthankara was Parshvanath, and 24th Tirthankara was Mahavira. So we know about these two Tirthankars. Now, when a naked male torso was found at Harappa in the excavations, many of the Jains said, look, that is one of our Tirthankaras. Meaning to say, as if Jainism existed even in the Harappan period. So Jains claim antiquity to their religion. Did you understand what I just now told you? This is Deepshika, this is Harappa. I'm saying Mohenjo-daro. Mohenjo-daro, you have 9 levels below the one which is on top. Now, totally there are 9 levels. The topmost is the first one. Did you understand what I just now told you? Vaibhav? Torso means whatever you see here, up to the up to the waist. That's called torso. So 891 seals recovered. Right. So some say that this particular naked male torso must be one of the Tirthankaras. That's what some of the Jains claimed. And then we have a nude female dancer of grey stone. Ankush, I will explain what a Tirthankara later. Right. Now, then we have found circular brick platforms. You can see here on your screen, circular brick platforms have been found at Harappa. Even now, in villages, of course, nowadays you have mills. People take the harvested crop to the mill where the machine will separate the grain from the chaff. Another method which was followed even before machines came, mills came, was this threshing. That is working floors. These are called working floors where the harvested grain is thrashed against this brick platform. So that will result in the grain and the chaff separating. So these are called working floors. These have been found at Harappa. I put a picture there. Then barracks of single room tenements have been found. Small coolie rooms, small rooms meant for the coolies, that has been found at Harappa. Then vanity case has been found. Vanity case is purse. Women, they carry purse. Even nowadays, women carry purse along with them. They keep many things inside the purse. So that's called vanity case. So vanity case has been found at Harappa. So Harappans were very fashion conscious people. Six granaries in 2 rows have been found. You can see on your screen the six rows of 6 granaries in 2 rows. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 granaries in 2 rows have been found. Of course, the walls have collapsed. The walls of these granaries have collapsed. Only the foundation remains. As you can see, the foundation remains. Then bronze mirrors, bronze replica of a bullock cart, wooden coffin. All these have been found at Harappa. Deepshika, as a cotton was in existence, still there's no connection between cotton and nude figures, Deepshika. So if you go to many of the temples at Khajuraho, or for that matter, even in temples in South India, you have Mithuna sculptures, male and female, shown in various sexual postures. So that had a different connotation. It had a different meaning. What was the meaning? You might understand. You might wonder why sexual postures are shown outside on the walls of temples. Not inside the temple, we don't see such things. On the outer walls, we find. Even in South India, even in Hoysala temples here and there, we find Mithuna sculptures. It is very prominent in Khajuraho. One method of attaining moksha is through sexual practices. There are 3 methods to attain moksha. That is karma marga, bhakti marga, gnana marga. And another way of attaining moksha is through sexual practices. So that is shown. And people used to wear clothes, but still such things are shown. So there's no connection between what is the sculpture and the whether cotton existed or not. You understand, Deepshika? So there's no connection at all. So we'll come back here. Then head symmetry at Harappa may be that of the Aryans. So on the outskirts of Harappa, on the periphery of Harappa, we have found a very unique method of disposal of dead bodies. Understand this, please. This topic is more about understanding. Very simple. We know Harappans used to dispose of their dead bodies in 3 standard methods: complete burial, fractional burial, post-cremation burials. Right? Complete burial, fractional burial, post-cremation burial. But on the outskirts of Harappa, on the Harappan site, on the outskirts, we find a very unique method of disposal of dead bodies, which was alien to the Harappans. Harappans did not know this method of disposal of dead bodies. And historians, archaeologists believe it must be some outsider, maybe the Aryans. Maybe the Aryans who might have disposed of their dead bodies in the manner in which they knew or were familiar with. That has been called head symmetry. Head symmetry of Harappa, at Harappa may be that of the Aryans. Okay, this is Harappa, important aspects about Harappa. Did you understand? Any doubts here? Can I move on? No? So remember the important aspects about Harappa. First site to be discovered, vanity case, 6 rows of six granaries in 2 rows, 6 granaries in 2 rows, all those things you remember. Then we come to Mohenjo-daro. This is the site of Mohenjo-daro. This is the picture of a stupa. You can see here, this was built much later. The stupa, this is the picture of a stupa, as you can see on your screen. But this was constructed much, much later, not during the time when the civilization was flourishing. So Mohenjo-daro is now the second largest Harappan city or site after Rakhigarhi. Literally, it means mound of the dead. Why it is called mound of the dead? So it was found on a mound. So here, when a mound was dug up, they found a number of skeletons of dead people. So therefore, this particular site has been called Mohenjo-daro, the mound of the dead, because a lot of skeletons were found initially when the excavations took place. Second largest city after Rakhigarhi. Great bath has been found here. Great bath, great granary. Okay, then Pashupati Mahadeva seal. All these come from Mohenjo-daro. So here, this is the great bath on your screen. You can see here, this is the great bath, beautifully arranged brickwork, made watertight with lime, gypsum, and mortar. So this was the water would not leak under the surface of on the floor of the great bath. So the floor was made watertight with lime, gypsum, mortar, made of burnt bricks. You have rooms adjoining the Great Bath. You can see rooms are here adjoining the Great Bath. So, Great Bath, this was 39 into 23 into 8 feet in depth, ritual bathing site. Then we have the Great Granary, the largest and the most important, remarkable structure. So, most important public place was the Great Bath. Largest building at Mohenjo-daro is the Great Granary. You can see here, this is the Great Granary. So, Great Granary, it was built at a height. Why at a height? So that rodents, bandicoots, rodents like bandicoots are not able to easily climb up and spoil the grains which have been stored there. You have ducts in the wall, holes in the wall for air circulation, so that the grains remain fresh. So this is the Great Granary at Mohenjo-daro. So we have found the Great Bath is at Mohenjo-daro, Great Granary is at Mohenjo-daro. We have an oblong multi-pillared assembly hall and a big rectangular building here, which probably served administrative purposes. Then major streets are as wide as 33 feet. Evidence of Indian ships comes from a seal here. A piece of woven cloth has been found. You can see here, this is the piece of woven cloth. I'm coming to this. Piece of cotton cloth has been found at Mohenjo-daro. Then we have the oldest bronze image in the world on your screen. You can see here, bronze nude dancing girl. Bronze nude dancing girl. Yeah, I told the Kumar stupa was formed. So the stupa, no, stupa was not formed during Vedic period. You are getting it wrong, Kumar. The stupa was a natural progression over the Vedic burial mound. So when somebody died, you have a mound which was created. The dead person was buried, and a mound of earth was covered over the remains of the dead person, and that later developed into the later day stupa. Did you get me that, Kumar? It was. Don't say that stupa formed during the Vedic period. That is wrong. We have the Vedic burial mound, which later progressed into the stupa. We'll come to that later. Don't get confused here. Are you there with me, Kumar? Mr. Kumar? Okay, we'll come back here. Just hold on. Now, what you see here on your screen is the oldest image of a bronze, the oldest bronze idol in the world, or the oldest bronze image in the world. This is only 2.5 centimeters in size. It's just 2.5 centimeters in size. 2.5 centimeters in size, right? Now look here. What was the technique which was used by the Harappans to make or cast such bronze images? What was the technique used by the Harappans to cast such bronze images? The technique has been called Sir Perdue method. Understand this? Sir Perdue. Cirperdue. Sir Perdue method. Or what is called lost wax technique. Lost wax technique. Now, if you observe this girl who's shown in this particular picture, the bronze nude dancing girl, she is standing in a particular posture. And this is the interpretation given by historians, okay, not by me, by historians. So I'm only, uttering their words. Now, this girl is supposedly in the Tribhanga posture. Understand this? She is standing in a Tribhanga posture. Three bent body. That is three bent body. Her body is bent in three places. Tribhanga. Okay, that's called Tribhanga posture. It looks like that she has finished her dance and she is trying to regain her breath. So she's tired after dancing and she is regaining her composure and breath. She has her right hand on her hips and her left arms are resting on her knees, one of her knees, on her left leg, on her left knees. Her left arm is covered in bangles. As you can see, her left arm is covered in bangles. Her right arm has a pair of bangles, right? Then she is wearing a necklace and she has tied her hair in a bun. She has tied her hair in a bun. So this is the nude dancing girl made of bronze. Now, what was the technique which was adopted by the Harappans to make this bronze image? Let us understand that. Now, Harappans used to Now you know wax. This is what is it called? Sir-Perdue method. Sir-Perdue or lost wax technique. Now wax is a byproduct of petroleum. Wax, you have we all have candles in our houses, and wax and candle is made of wax, isn't it? Wax is a byproduct of petroleum, and petroleum was not there during those days. So what did the Harappans do? They used to collect beeswax. Beeswax. What is beeswax? You have the honey bee, and you have the beehive where the honey bee stores the honey in the beehive. The beehive is like a wax. Okay, it's like a wax. The beehive. So Harappans used to pluck the beehive, and from that wax, what is called beeswax, they would make a image of this female. Imagine with all the details. As you can see here, this is made of bronze, but imagine this has been made of wax, beeswax, with all the details. So she's standing in a Tribhanga posture. She has got bangles on her left arm, a pair of bangles on her right arm with this necklace, hair tied in a bun, etc., etc. So they would have made this model first of beeswax with all the details. This is number one. Secondly, what the Harappans would do is they used to take, the ant hill. You have the ant ants would have made an ant hill. That's where they live. So they would have collected fine grains of clay or mud to make the ant hill. So they'll collect mud from the ant hill. They'll mix it with water. So it's very, very soft. That mud is very, very soft. The mud of the ant hill. They'll mix it with water. So it becomes a paste, a mud paste. And then they will apply that mud paste on top of this wax model. So that is the second stage. Okay. So applying mud paste on this wax model. And once they have covered the entire wax model with mud paste, they would have left a hole in somewhere in middle. Let us say they have left a hole here. There's a hole, on the mud plaster, they have made a hole. Then they will allow the mud to dry up. So what happens? It crumbles. The mud hardens. The mud mold hardens. Inside there is wax model of the female, dancing girl, and on top you have the mud plaster which has got dried up. Then what will the Harappans do? What the Harappans used to do is they should take it on a flame. They'll light up a flame, and then they will heat up the the mold on the flame. So what happens is the flame penetrates through the mud plaster, and the wax inside, the beeswax inside, starts melting. So once it starts melting, they'll pour out little by little all the beeswax through that hole which they have made earlier. So they'll pour out everything. So what was earlier beeswax inside, it is now hollow. Nothing is there inside because all the beeswax have been removed. Right now they will take copper and bronze. They will take copper in one vessel, tin in another vessel, and they will melt both copper and tin in separate vessels. So at around 3,500 degree Fahrenheit, copper and tin starts melting, and then they will mix it in a common vessel. So that becomes bronze liquid. And then they would pour the liquid into that hole. So what was earlier bronze, what was earlier wax, beeswax, is now covered in bronze liquid. So the bronze liquid is poured into that hole until it starts overflowing. That means all the gap has been covered inside with the bronze liquid. They'll stop pouring once it starts overflowing, and then they'll allow it to solidify. So the bronze liquid solidifies into bronze. And then later they will remove the mud plaster. And then they'll give polish. They'll give it finishing touches. This is called a lost wax technique or Sir-Perdue method. Did you understand what I just now told you? Hello? Did you understand what I just now told you? Clear? So does it show patriarchal nature of society? No, Kumar, it doesn't show patriarchal nature of society. See, a female's body is an object of art. It's an object of art. It's a topic of art, beauty, expression, etc. So if you look at the sculptures in our temples, right, you have so many females, Dwarapalikas, Madanikas, they were all shown. So it is supposed to be a representative of the bounty of nature. So now, so entire cosmos is shown on the outer walls of temples. So birds, animals, gods, yakshas, yakshinis, beautiful women, men, professionals, etc., etc. So everything is shown. So it doesn't show, a patriarchal society, nothing like that. So did you understand the lost bronze, what is called lost wax technique or sirpedi method? Now please understand, this is a legacy left behind by the Harappans, and even now, the bronzesmiths of Tamil Nadu, who make Nataraja bronzes, they follow this method. The only difference is they use either Panchaloha or Ashtadhatu. What is Ashtadhatu? A combination of 8 metals. And what is Panchaloha? Combination of 5 metals. So, of course, during the Chola period, they used to use more gold because gold was cheaper and much more plentifully available, cheaper also. So they used to use more gold content in the more gold quantity in the Panchaloha. Now they use Ashtadhatu, 8 metals, combination of 8 metals. So the same technique is followed even now, and it is as old as 5,000 years old. This particular technique. Even the Pala bronzesmiths in the 10th century, we have the Palas ruling over eastern parts of India, the Palas of Bengal. When you come to medieval India, we'll talk about it. They also used to make bronze images through this method. That is, Sirpedi method or lost wax technique. So this is a legacy left behind by the Harappans. You can add that to your notes. You can add that to your question answer in case the UPSC has asked you a question. You can answer that. You can add that. It is a legacy left behind by the Harappans. The Sirpedi method. Clear? Can I move on? This is bronze dancing, new dancing girl found at Mohenjo-daro. Then we come to, this is another picture. You can see here on your screen the picture of a priest. This is supposed to be the steatite statue of a priest. This is made of steatite, a soft stone called steatite. A steatite statue of a priest. He's supposed to be a priest. Now, this is the interpretation given by historians. He is supposed to be a priest. How do we know he's a priest? Generally, priests, they expose one arm. They cover only one arm, like this. Priest is covered his left arm and he's exposed his right arm. So, like a priest, even who does that even now. And what we see here is this particular priest has mongoloid features. He has got mongoloid features. He has his eyes half closed. He has got beautifully trimmed beard. Look at his beard, beautifully trimmed beard. He has got no mustache. Mustache is absent. So beautifully trimmed beard. He has also combed his hair beautifully. Look at the comb here, beautifully combed hair. He's tied up his hair in a bandana with a headband. He's tied up his hair in a headband and he's wearing a shawl. This is called trefoil pattern. You can see this. This design is called trefoil pattern. Trefoil pattern. And according to historians, archaeologists, he's a priest. He's got mongoloid features. He has tied his hair in a band with a headband, and he has left one of his arms exposed. One shoulder is covered and one shoulder is exposed. Right? This is mongoloid is like the mongoloid features. Like for example, people of China have mongoloid features. Okay, China, Japan, Mongolia, they're all having mongoloid features. Did you understand? And this nose, you see, it has got damaged. And how was this damage? How did this damage happen? I believe, in one international exhibition, this steatite statue of a priest was sent by the government of India for exhibiting it in the international exhibition. During the transport, it got damaged, and it remains damaged. So after that, they decided not to send any of our artifacts to any exhibition anywhere in the world because to avoid such damage. So unfortunately, their eyes are small. That is true. Eyes are small. Okay, we'll come back here. So these are all the things which are found at Mohenjo-daro. Did you understand? These are all the things, important things found at Mohenjo-daro, and I've mentioned here. We have 9 levels of occupation, towering over 300 feet above the present floodplain. And the city might have been flooded more than 7 times. 9 levels of occupation, towering over 300 feet above. So What you see on top is the 9th level. Below you have 8 levels. Somebody had asked that question earlier. I hope I have answered that. Vaibhav is asking, did Harappans know how to make chapatis? They might have known, chapati, to make chapatis. They used to cultivate wheat and barley. So they must have known how to make chapatis or rotis. Okay, we'll come back here. Then Dholavira. Dholavira is the latest site to be discovered. It was discovered in 1991. Latest site to be discovered is Dholavira, 1991. And we have you can see on your screen, there's a picture of a reservoir. Now, please understand. So this is the picture of a reservoir or a dam. Now, till this was discovered, we have found about 2-3 reservoirs at Dholavira. And till such a dam was discovered, we thought, historians, archaeologists thought, that Harappans did not know about canal irrigation. Now, what is canal irrigation as we follow nowadays? We collect water in the dams, in the reservoirs, and once the dam gates are opened, through canals, the water is carried to the fields. So, how feeder canals to the fields. So that's how we engage in irrigation nowadays, isn't it? Agriculture nowadays. The fields are irrigated like that with water from the dams. Now, we thought such canal irrigation was unknown to the Harappans. But once these reservoirs were found at Dholavira, we historians had to revise that opinion. So Harappans they knew about canal irrigation. We have this is the picture of a dam which was constructed by the Harappans at Dholavira in Gujarat. Okay, and then through these reservoirs, you have channels or canals which used to carry water to the fields to water the plants. So reservoir has been found here. And something very unique about Dholavira is the presence of a middle town. Understand this? The presence of a middle town. Now, what is this middle town? So you all know that generally we have two parts to a Harappan city. We have the citadel area to the western side. There's a massive brick wall surrounding this part of the city. And on the eastern side, we have the lower town, which was generally not fortified, except at Kalibangan and Surkotada. Okay, so western side, citadel area, and eastern side, lower town. So this is the citadel area. So generally, Harappan cities were divided into two parts, but only at Dholavira, understand this, only at Dholavira, we have found the presence of a middle town. So between the citadel and the lower town, there's a small middle town. This is the exclusive feature of Dholavira. No other Harappan site or city has a middle town. And historians believe that probably the family of the ruler, the family or families of the ruler or rulers used to stay in the middle town. That's what is a presumption. You can see here on your screen. This is the picture of a middle town. So here, this is A. This is the citadel area. This is citadel area. The B is this is the B, A and the B. And the C, this is the lower town. This is D, lower town. And this is the middle town. C is the middle town. So this is exclusive to Dholavira. So what you need to remember is there's a latest Harappan site to be discovered. Number one. Number two is we have found a reservoir here, right? And that means Harappans knew canal irrigation. And third is the presence of a middle town, exclusive to Dholavira. Right. So you can see the picture of a street at Dholavira. Then Lothal, the only Indus site with an artificial brick dockyard. We have found an artificial brick dockyard at Lothal. And this is the only Harappan site where the main door faced the main street, isn't it? Main doors of the houses, main doors of houses faced the main street. So this is very exclusive to Lothal, right? Then it is surrounded by a massive brick wall. Evidence of earliest cultivation of rice comes from here. Then we have the only Indus site with an artificial brick dockyard. You see here, this is the picture on your screen. This is the picture of a dockyard, an artificial dockyard built by the Harappans at Lothal in Gujarat. On your screen, another picture I have put. You look at the arrangement of the stones there, the walls of the reserve, the dockyard. Look at the arrangement of stones, so beautifully laid out. So here, how did this particular dockyard work? Ankush, this is only a presumption, Ankush. Probably the family or families used to stay there. You cannot say the entire town was booked for the family. There's much discrimination. No, you don't make such sweeping statements. The thing is, historians believe that probably the family or families of the ruler or rulers used to stay there. Right. Yeah, very much. Now, just very much. Now, how did this operate? Understand this. How did this particular dockyard operate? Now, on your screen, you can see a painting. This is an artist's impression of Lothal. So, this is probably how the dockyard operated. You can see here on your screen, you have the high tide. No, you have a high tide and a low tide, isn't it? So, in the high tide, the sea is rough, slightly. It is flowing at a height. The ocean, the waves. So here during high tide, the gates are open. You can see this is the gate. The gate of the dockyard is open, and the ship enters the dockyard, and the gate is closed. Then you have loading and unloading happening. Loading and unloading happening. The ship might stay there for a few days or a few weeks or maybe a month or so. And let us say again it has to go back. They'll wait for the next high tide. Then the gates are open, and then again the ship goes and rejoins the sea. Whatever excess water has entered the reserve and entered the dockyard when the gates were open, that is let out through this particular channel. It goes and joins the sea again. So this is how the dockyard of Lothal operated. Did you get me that? Clear? So this is how it operated. Yeah. Then we have a no. Dockyard is not covered with sand. It is not covered with sand. You can see the water is there, right? So dockyard is there, very much there. I told you how it operates, how it probably operated. So you have the high tide. When the high tide came, the ships would enter the dockyard, the gate would be opened, and ships will enter the dockyard. Loading and unloading would take place. And when the ship has to again go back to the sea, they'll wait for the next high tide, and then the gates are opened, and then the ship goes and rejoins the sea. Now, one more thing. Remember these important things. Then we have on a piece of on a piece of pottery, we have the painting of the fox and the fish. You understand this? Which later became Fox and the Grape story of the Panchatantra. So on a piece of pot shred, we have the story of a fox and a fish. So there's a crow sitting on a tree, perched on a tree, and it is holding a fish in its beak, and a fox is looking at a fox is looking at the crow, which is holding a fish in its beak. This story was later incorporated in the Panchatantra story, where there is a fox and the grape story, right? Then you have evidence of chess game, Shatranj. So this is India's gift to the world. We have evidence of chess game from Lothal. So chess is India's gift to the world. So we have evidence of chess game from Lothal. Right. So these are the important things about Lothal. Remember them. Then we move on. Kalibangan. So it had both pre-Harappan and Harappan cultural phases. Kalibangan. In the pre-Harappan levels, the fields were plowed at Kalibangan. Deepshika, I'm not very sure about the status of Lothal now. Lothal, no, it's now closed due to displacement of river. I have no idea, Deepshika. But that's how and probably the Lothal, the port of Lothal operated. Now, what is the status of Lothal now? I don't know. I'm sure it must be preserved by the ASI because it's an ASI site, so they'll be very careful about preserving it. So what about Dholavira Puja? Dholavira, we have discussed Dholavira. Oh, that's nice, Shailaja. I hope you continue your game of chess also as a hobby. Okay, we continue now. Kalibangan. Now, Kalibangan, we have seen this in the pre-Harappan levels. The fields were plowed, so Harappans knew about the plow, but it was not extensively used because it was not necessary to use the plow, right? And fire altars have been found. Fire altars have been found. Wheel conveyance comes from here. Wheel conveyance. So now we have found a wheel there. So Kalibangan was first excavated by Amalananda Ghosh. I told you this. I think I remember this. A. Ghosh. A. Ghosh was so it was actually discovered by an Italian archaeologist. I forget his name. So Italian archaeologists discovered this site of Kalibangan. It is literally means black bangles because we have found a number of black bangles when the excavations were taking place. So therefore, literally means black bangles. Kalibangan. Kalibangan, And it was excavated by Amalananda Ghosh and later B.B. Lal and B.K. Thapar, Balkrishna Thapar, B.K. Thapar excavated it. So it has been excavated in phases. A. Ghosh did it first, then later by B.B. Lal and B.K. Thapar. Right? Ankush, yeah, Ankush. No, it is not B.B. Lal. It is, Amalananda Ghosh. So initially it was A. Ghosh and later B.B. Lal and B.K. Thapar. Okay. You make the correction, Ankush. Right? We move on. Chanhudaro, only Indus city without a citadel. So these are the things you should remember. Only Indus city without a citadel is Chanhudaro. We have found ink pot there. Ink pot and a lipstick has been found. Ink pot and a lipstick. So Harappans also used to apply lipstick. Whether even the males used to apply, we don't know. But lipstick has been found. What brand, we don't know. Probably they had their own brand. Yeah, you make the change, Ankush. I told you Amalanda Ghosh, followed by Bibi Lal and BK Thapar. Okay, then people of Chanudaro were expert craftsmen, metal workers, shell ornament makers, bead makers, bangle makers. Shops have been found here. Chanudaro. Then move on. Bannavali, we have both pre-Harappan and Harappan cultural phases here. Statue of Mother Goddess has been found. Then Surkotada, the only Indus site where actual remains of a horse have been found. You can see here, this is at Surkotada. Horse bones have been found at Surkotada. So please understand, Harappans knew about the horse. Horse was known to the Harappans, but it was not extensively used. It was not extensively used. Horse was known, but not extensively used by the Harappans. And of course, along with Kalibangan, even the lower town is fortified at Surkotada. So only fortified lower towns are Kalibangan and Surkotada. We have discussed this. Then Kot Diji, probably it was destroyed by fire. Kot Diji in Sindh, probably destroyed by fire. We have found 5 figurines of Mother Goddess here. Then Ropar, we have found a dog buried below a human burial, suggesting belief in life after death. So Ropar, dog buried below human burial. Then Daimabad, this is the southernmost Harappan site. Southernmost site of the Harappans. It is in Maharashtra, Daimabad. So we have found copper models of elephants, rhino, buffalo here. Bronze chariot also comes from here. Copper models of elephant, rhino, buffalo, bronze chariot. Then let us come to miscellaneous information. Twice destroyed by inundations, that is floods. Dipshika destroyed twice by floods. Okay, so we have two building levels. Inundation is floods. Dipshika. Archaeology is the reference. Dipshika, I hope I have answered your question. City was twice destroyed by inundations. Yeah. Aryans were supposedly they were fierce horse riders. Aryans, so they that was their normal mode of transport. The Aryans, along with chariots. Um, Yeah, they were from basically from Central Asia. We'll talk about it. Now we'll come back to miscellaneous information. On your screen, you see here evidence of trephination. Do you see a picture on the right side of your screen? The picture of a skull. In my picture, the hole is missing. There's a hole on the skull. Do you see a hole on the skull? A black color hole? Okay, great. Now, that is the meaning of trephination. Trephination. What is trephination? It was a practice where a person suffering from some mental imbalance or migraine headache would have been cured by making a hole in his skull. Now, when a hole has been made in his skull, don't ask me what happened to that person, whether he got cured or not. First of all, he has to be alive for that. But then that was a practice in many cultures, including in Harappa. At Lothal and Kalimbangan, we have evidence of trephination. So somebody suffering from a migraine headache, severe migraine headache, or mentally imbalanced. He must have been unfortunately mentally no, um, mentally imbalanced person. So the presumption was there's some spirit or ghost has gone into his brain, and if a hole is made, it will escape and it will give relief to that person. So that person is behaving like that because of a devil or a ghost which has gone into his brains, into his skull, and therefore a hole is made. It will find an escape route, and he'll be all right. So with that presumption, a hole was made. Did you understand? Okay. So that is called trephination. That's called trephination, right? Lothal and Kalimbangan, evidence of trephination comes from there. Then evidence of devastation by floods. Now, don't ask me whether the person was alive or not. Even if he was alive, even if somehow survived, he would have been in a vegetable state of mind. He would have been in a vegetable state. Okay, vegetable state. Okay, evidence of devastation by floods. So all these cities were devastated by floods. Mohenjo-daro, Chanhodaro, Lothal. Then absence of mother goddess figurines from Rangpur, bangle making center, Balakot, Chanhodaro, etc. So I have given all the information here, evidence of fire worship. From all these sites, we get evidence of fire worship. Mohenjo-daro, Lothal, Kalibangan, Banamali. Evidence of horse comes from all these sites. Mohenjo-daro, Harappa, Lothal, etc. Coastal towns are these. Alladino, Balakot, Lothal, Sukta Gendor, Sutkako. Indus ports. Alladino, Balakot, Lothal, Sutka Gendor, Malaban, Kuntasi. Cemeteries have been found in these places. So all the Jagabandhu says superstition and dog mass were presented in such great urban civilization. Jagabandhu, even with all the advancement and technology we have, we are still in many aspects superstitious. Jagabandhu, isn't it? We are still superstitious. With all the technology we have, we believe many things blindly. Hmm? So nothing to do with urban civilization or anything. It's a part of our belief system. It's part of our belief system. And such beliefs are there all over the world. Even advanced civilizations, so-called advanced civilizations, also have their belief systems. We'll come back here. Harappan sites in terms of size, you all know the biggest Harappan site as of now is Rakhigarhi, followed by Mohenjo-daro, then Ganveriwala and Harappa. So these three are in Pakistan. You know, these three are in Pakistan. Mohenjo-daro, Ganveriwala, Harappa are in Pakistan. Rakhigarhi is in Haryana in India. So whether it is India or Pakistan, the biggest Harappan site is Rakhigarhi, followed by Mohenjo-daro. Third is Ganveriwala. Fourth is Harappa. In India, which is the biggest? Rakhigarhi, followed by Dholavira. So I have given you a difference between Harappan and Egyptian Mesopotamian civilization. Please go through it. Okay, Harappan and Egyptian civilization. So Harappans used to live in well-planned cities and towns. You have a grid system, unique method of alignment of cities, rectangular built houses, burned bricks, staircases are found, wells, toilets in every house, etc. Such town planning, city planning is not there in either Egypt or Mesopotamia. Harappan script is different. Harappan script, of course, is undeciphered, whereas script of the Egyptians and the Mesopotamians have been deciphered. Harappan civilization declined and disappeared after 1900 BC, but these civilizations, Egypt and Mesopotamia, continued to flourish even after that. And of course, it is the largest of the contemporary civilizations, spread over a wide area, Harappan civilization. Right? So these are the differences. Go through the chart. Then let us come to the questions here. Now, this is post-Harappan phase. Now, look here on your screen. Post-Harappan phase or late Harappan phase, 1800 to 1200 BC. 1800 to 1200 BC. For various reasons, as we have seen earlier, Harappans abandoned their cities and went away to rural areas. So, the Harappan civilization underwent a process of de-urbanization. Harappan civilization underwent a process of de-urbanization. So, again, people went away to rural areas. They began to engage in agriculture, stock raising, that is animal husbandry. That became their main occupation. And we have late Harappan cultures were primarily chalcolithic, that is stone copper age. So technologically, again, they became backward. They began to use stone and copper. So in many places, we have the chalcolithic cultures coming into existence. So people lived in villages subsisting on agriculture, stock raising, and hunting. Okay, so here generally, as I told you, Chalcolithic culture precedes the Bronze Age. But in many parts of India, we have the Chalcolithic culture coming or appearing even after the end of the Harappan phase, Harappan Bronze Age. So people were living in rural areas, right? So what are the important sites pertaining to the post-urban phase? Bhagwanpura in Haryana, Chandigarh and Sangor in Punjab, Alamgirpur in UP, Manda in Jammu, Jukar and Jhangar in Sindh near Amri. So these are all the important post-urban sites. And painted greyware has been found here. That is a type of pottery called painted greyware, which became the distinctive pottery of the Vedic Aryans. Painted greyware has been found here. So this is post-urban phase. Okay, let us look at the questions. Hello, all of you. Let us look at the questions. 2002 question. Which of the following animals was not? So underline the keywords, please. Read the question very carefully. Which of the following animals was not represented in seals and terracotta art of Harappan sculpture? So elephant, rhino, tiger, cow. Cow is the animal. Answer. You know that. Yuxin says crow. No, it's not crow. By mistake you have typed crow. Okay. No, I know. I'm just pulling a leg, Yuxin. I know. It's just a typing error. Okay, cow. We'll come back here. Then let us go to the next question. 2002 question. Okay. Match list and list 1 with list 2 and select the correct answer using the codes given below. Ancient site and finding. Lothal, you all know, dockyard. Kalibangan, plowed field in the pre-Harappan levels. Dholavira, an inscription comprising 10 large size signs of Harappan script. And Banavali, terracotta replica of a plow. That's the answer. Terracotta replica of a plow, model of a plow, made of terracotta, claim, right? That is the answer. So answer is B. Okay. Then 2011 question regarding the Indus Valley civilization. Consider the following statements. It was predominantly a secular civilization and the religious element, though present, did not dominate the scene. Yes or no? Is it true or false? First statement. Yuxin, Sakshi. It was predominantly a secular civilization and the religious element, though present, did not dominate the scene. Yes or no? True. Is it true or false? Ankush says false. Shailaja says false. No, this is true. This is correct. First statement is correct. Deepshika, Krishika, Vaishnavi, Sakshi, everybody is marked it correct. So that's correct. During this period, cotton was used for manufacturing textiles in India. Second statement, yes or true? Yes or no? Second statement is right. During this period, cotton was used for manufacturing textiles in India. Preetham, where are you? You say no. Cotton cloth, a piece of cotton cloth has been found from Mohenjo-daro. I showed you the picture also, Preetham. How can you say no? Ankush, where did you go? Sir, dominated by Hinduism like puja. I never said anything like that. There is no puja or Hinduism. I have never made any mention of that, either puja or Hinduism. I said there was a incense burner in front of the unicorn. There's an incense burner, but then incense burner is there in other civilizations also, other cultures also. You cannot say only it is exclusive to Hinduism. And I never use that word Hinduism, right? Ankush, so be very careful, Ankush. Then which of the okay during this period cotton was used for manufacturing textiles in India? Which of the statements given above is or are correct? Both 1 and 2 are correct, right? C is the answer. Then 2013 question. Which of the following characterize the people of the Indus Valley civilization? They possess great palaces and temples. Yes or no? Ankush, they possess great palaces and temples. Chetcha says yes. Where did you find palaces, Chetcha? Chetcha, Ankush, phallus worship, bull worship, goddess worship. No, that it is a legacy left behind by the Harappans. But then there was no religion called Hinduism during those days, isn't it? So how do you say that it was Hinduism was there? And Hinduism is a way of life. Okay, there's no particular scripture or a particular day which is considered to be sacred. In fact, all days are sacred, and you have both formless and form, a god with form in Hinduism. So therefore, you cannot use the word Hinduism. So they possess great palaces and temples. No, there is no palaces or temples. We have not found any temple structure. They worship both male and female deities. Yes or no? Second statement is correct. Very good. Ankush says no. They worship both male and female gods. Ankush, again you've gone wrong. They worship both male and female gods, deities. That is true. Then they employed horse-drawn chariots in warfare. Third statement, yes or no? They employed horse-drawn chariots in warfare. So no, they did not employ any horse-drawn chariots in warfare. So select the correct statement or statements using the codes given below. Only two. Only two is the answer. B is the answer. Is it? Now tell me something. We have discussed this chapter in a detailed manner, and you're able to answer most of the questions correctly. So it's an easy topic, isn't it? When you do the detailed study, it becomes easy to understand and follow and answer the UPSC questions. That should be the reference point. Isn't it? It's easy. So why it's easy? Because we have spent so much of time in studying this topic, this one topic. Was there any sign of war in Indus Valley civilization? So I told you regarding the decline, we have evidence. At Mohenjo-daro, 13 skeletons huddled next to each other of women and children bearing a sword cut mark. Such things are there. Regarding the attack from some outsider. Even the later defenses at Harappa have been strengthened. The citadel walls have been strengthened at a later date. No evidence of warfare as such till now. Now, how to keep poll, I don't know. Poll and all, I don't have time for that. Now, you're either way answering. This is something like a poll. You think that it's a poll and you answer. Then, which one of the following is not a Harappan site? 2019 question. Which one of the following is not a Harappan site? Channudaro is a Harappan site. Kot Diji is one. Desalpur is one. Not Sohagaura. Sohagaura is a Mauryan site. So when I come to Mauryan period, we'll talk about it. It's a Mauryan period site, not a Harappan site. Okay. Then, which of the following were the important exports of the Indus Valley civilization? Textiles, horses, wine, rice, jewelry. What are the important exports of the Indus Valley civilization? Textiles, horses, no. Wine, no. Rice, no. Jewelry. So textiles and jewelry. We have found cotton, cotton bundles at Mesopotamia. A piece of cotton cloth, has been found. Jewelry have been found. So therefore, 1 and 5 is the answer. A is correct. Jewelry made of shell and beads have been found. Next, in Harappan cities, burnt bricks were used in what? Now look here, understand this. Wherever there was water standing, stagnant water, or always water is standing, There they have used burnt bricks. So dockyard is one. There's always water there. Drains, gutters or drains are there's another one. And then of course, Great Bath. In these three places, Harappans have used burnt bricks: dockyard, drains, and Great Bath. So therefore, answer is C, 1, 2, and 5. Do you understand? So why they have used burnt bricks? Because it is very strong and it will add to the strength of the dockyard, drain, or Great Bath. The normal brick might crumble because of water always getting soaked by them. Whereas burnt brick will not soak up water. It will be much more stronger and it will remain strong. Next, which of the following animals is or are not found on the Pashupati Mahadeva seal? So first of all, you know what is found on the Pashupati Mahadeva seal? Elephant. Then who said lion and bull? Okay, okay, that's not found. Okay, you're right. Ankush, you're right. Lion is not found. Bull is not found. So what is found? First of all, elephant, tiger, rhino, and a buffalo. And 2 deer appear at his feet. Now, you make a story from this. Okay, how to remember these animals: elephant, tiger, rhino, buffalo, and 2 deer. You make a story. Okay, you make a story, and that way you will remember better. Yeah, 2 deer appear also. 2 deer appear. Can you make a story? That way, when you remember the story, you can remember the animals. So you make a story. It might be a funny story or a stupid story. Doesn't matter. Then, 2021 question. Like for example, let me tell you a story. For example, can anybody add a story here? Option 4. Which of the following animals are not found? Not found is 1 and 5. Tiger hunting are the Kamjor animals, not lion and bull. No, not like that, Ankush. No, from the animals surrounding Pashupati Mahadeva, you make a story. For example, the tiger attacked the buffalo. Okay, the tiger attacked the buffalo, and the elephant and rhino were mute spectators, and 2 deer were also watching that. Something like that you make. That way you'll remember better. We'll come back here. 2021 question. Which one of the following ancient towns is well known for its elaborate system of water harvesting and management by building a series of dams and channelizing water into connected reservoirs? So answer is Dholavira. 2021 question. Now look at the question here on your screen. Mains question, 2 questions. Write about the chief features of town planning in the Indus Valley civilization. Chief features, underline the keywords first of all. Write about the chief features of town planning in the Indus Valley civilization. Then second question is, to what extent has the urban planning and culture of the Indus Valley civilization provided inputs to present day urbanization? Discuss. So first of all, how do you approach writing questions? No, first of all, you underline the keywords. Then you brainstorm. You learn to brainstorm. What is brainstorming? You think about the topic, town planning, what all ideas come to you randomly. You just jot down in one word. Let's say you got one idea, okay? You don't number them. One idea came, second idea came, third idea came, fourth idea came, fifth idea came. Okay, then you number them. Okay, I'm going to write this first, this second, this third, this fourth, this fifth. Right? Then you give an introduction. You give an introduction to about Indus civilization and you start writing the body and then you give a conclusion. So you can also have points along with paragraphs. It all depends upon the student. Similarly, so underline the keywords and then make it a point to use the wordings of the question also in the introduction if necessary. If you missed out at some point, you can always add that point in the conclusion. So you try, give it a try, give it a try, give it a try. Chief features of town planning in Indus Valley civilization. You can write you can mail the answers to us or to me, right? So don't get scared, Roshan, when the topic is so easy, you can easily answer questions. Just 250 words, 200 words, 250 words. There's a word limit. So why are you worried? Right? Now we'll come back here. So this is the first, this is the second chapter. I have finished the second chapter. Now let us come to Vedic period. Any doubts here? So please write your mail me the answers or to the team, and I may take some time, but I will answer it and give it back to you. Yeah, I have another 15 minutes to go. Yeah, Ankush, you brainstorm and write the answer. And so in the examination, in the examination conditions, you'll have only about 12 to 13 minutes. No, you'll have about 12 to 13 minutes only in the examination to write a 250 word answer. So therefore, practice writing answers, because you write and clear the UPSC. You can't read and clear the UPSC. So learn to write answers and keep honing that skill, and you'll get better and better. There's no perfect time to start writing answers. Don't think that let me finish the syllabus and then I'll come to writing answers. Don't do that. You'll never finish the syllabus, right? It will be very, very, very late for you. Please start writing answers from day one. If you finish a topic, look at the questions. First of all, look at the questions which have appeared in the mains from that topic. So then you study that topic, and then you make your notes, points, whatever, and then you start writing answers and get it evaluated. Do that diligently. Every day, spend 30 minutes. Understand this? Every day, spend 30 minutes writing one question. One day geography, one day constitution, one day history, one day economy, and so on and so forth. So every day, you pick up one question, you master one topic, thoroughly study the topic. You might take 1 day, you might take 4 days for the topic, doesn't matter. Then pick up questions from the topic, and then you answer those questions. So make it a rule, make it a thumb rule. This is the only way you can improve your answer writing skills. So apart from that, vocabulary, the flow of ideas, everything will start happening automatically. So that will take some time. Initially, you might stutter, you might take more time. Don't worry. Absolutely don't worry about that. Okay. So you start doing that. Tomorrow there's a holiday, Pritam, because of Eid Milad. It's a holiday tomorrow, a company declared holiday. We'll meet after that. Yeah, I have already given the mail address. Okay. You can always mail it to me or to the team. Artist painting, tell once. Which artist painting? Okay, we'll come back here. I didn't understand your question, Bhimare. Now we'll come back. So let us start with the next chapter, Vedic period. There'll be no lecture. No. Mapping is not necessary, Deepshika. Just have an idea, general idea, where these sites are located. They'll not ask you map questions for GS. Don't worry about it. Vedic age, we can start on a fresh day. You're also right. So you want to call it a day? Yeah? Okay, we'll call it a day. You're also right. Well, who's this? Lagima is right. Yeah, Lagima is right, because, again I have to start fresh for 10 minutes. I'll not be able to carry anything. So we'll stop here 10 minutes early today. We'll call it a day. We'll meet tomorrow, no, next day. That is day after tomorrow. Today is what? Today is Wednesday. Tomorrow is Thursday. We can meet on a Friday. We'll be meeting on Friday again. Arun, I don't know that. That is, as far as I know, I don't know much about that. I'll find out. History optional webinar. Shailaja, my semester exam is going to start on 12th. You focus on the semester exam, Shailaja, first. You finish your semester exam and then look for UPSC. You look at what is there on your plate first. UPSC is still a long way to go. You finish your graduation first. Your semester exam is important also. Revise, Angeline, revise your lessons. Revision is part of your preparation. Yeah, Shailaja, fine. Your first attempt is in 2027, so you still a long time to go, Shailaja. Focus on your semester. Yeah. Okay, fine. So you will call it a day. You have a great holiday tomorrow, and happy Eid Milad to all the Muslim students in the class, whoever is celebrating the festival tomorrow, and we'll meet on Friday. So I'm calling it off today, 10 minutes early. हाँ गुंजन आप स्टार्ट कीजिए आंसर राइटिंग स्टार्ट कीजिए you don't need to look for a muhurat for that. The moment you decide to start, you start. You read a topic, you take a easy topic. Take easy topics first. Easy to understand. You like Indus civilization is very easy. You start answering the question. No, first cover the easy topics. It will give you a lot of confidence. You'll not get any fear. You'll not have any fear. So once you start handling, and about 60% of the topics are, you can handle it on your own. You can study on your own with some basic, information. Easy books. Yeah, whatever you want, whatever subject you want, you please start. Okay, we'll call it a day now. Carry on. Good night. I'm logging out. We'll meet day after tomorrow. No class tomorrow because of Eid. Thank you. Good night.